Hello everyone, and welcome to the Solace Podcast. My name is Finbar, my internet name is Mini Finbar, and I'm the leader of Solace.
Hello, my name is Brad, my in-game name is Bradfordly/Turgle, and I am a Souls General.
Hi, I'm Dreamscape, and I am a Soul General.
Hey, I'm AJ.
Hi, I'm Situation, rank 6 Iron Man.
Hello everyone, I am Fishing, aka Westfold, and I like fishing. Critic fishing, drug abusing, you name it.
So before we get started with the questions, what has everyone been up to for the past month?
Well, recently I started my Dorgish Con account, as I mentioned in the previous podcast, and I recently got 99, currently 16 mil XP, and yeah, just enjoying the grind of Dorgish Con.
I've been hunting.
I've been mining for about the past 2 weeks at the quarry.
I finished banking 99 rune crafting off around 9,000 overkills, so I'm just skilling now.
Been having fun, doing a little bit of agility, but mostly critic fishing. Yeah.
AJ, you forgot to mention that you got Terminal Hunter. Well,
Nobody cares.
I do. It's impressive, okay.
Yeah, okay, I got Timber Hunter 2 weeks ago, guys.
I've been slaying, I got 100 mil a few weeks ago, 100 mil attack, 100 mil range, I'm rank 6 overall a couple days ago, so just the usual. Also, before we get started with the questions, for anyone who doesn't know, Brad and Dreamscape have recently been promoted to Generals in Solace, so you still expect to see them on most future podcasts, and congratulations to them. But let's start. First question we have is, what are your opinions on the recent Zora scale fishing update?
Well, from what my friends have told me, it's around 20-ish fake fishing and 250k GP per hour. So obviously, and it's not very good in terms of XP per hour or GP per hour. So obviously they need to buff it somehow. I think they should buff the XP per hour, because obviously you can get up to 95k per hour 3-ticking. So maybe they can make it a more reasonable 45k or something, which would be more reasonable to the average player if they wanted to get 99. Maybe similar to Motherload Mine in that aspect. Maybe you can make it and also maybe buff the amount of Zoro skills you get from it. So maybe it could be 400k GP and 45k XP per hour. It might balance it in a sense.
It's bad. Thank you.
Well, what I do actually like about it is that, the idea of it, slightly devalues Zora. But I definitely think that I don't really care about the XP per hour, because I think it was supposed to be intended to be just an AFK money making method. So I don't think the XP per hour is relevant. But I think it should be buffed to at least 500, 600k. Otherwise, it'll be dead content, in my opinion.
For me, I think it's decent. It's slower than Monkfish, more money than Monkfish, I guess, for people who casually AFK. And for Iron Men who get really lucky and get a blowpipe on their first 10 kills or something, they have an easier way to get scales, so they don't just need to grind Zora.
Okay. I personally prefer bug abusing for my fishing speed, so I won't never do it unless you got higher than 105k XP per hour somehow. I do think it deserves a buff though, because I don't see why anyone would be tempted to fish there right now with dark crabs, even monkfish and touch being better for non-Iron Man.
Yeah.
I was hoping it would be more GP per hour than Dark Crabs with less XP, so people would actually do it. In its current state, I think it's going to be very popular for main accounts, and scale prices are high. I would like them to go down because it's expensive to use a blowpipe for Slayer currently. So I'm hoping they rebalance it slightly. Maybe, well, rather than buffing the XP, they should just buff the scales and nerf keep the XP the same. Because, go on.
I was gonna say, I don't think it should be more GP power than Dark Crabs, just due to the fact that like Dark Crabs, you kind of have to risk for your GP, to be honest.
Well, you don't have to risk
You have
that.
more XP with Dark Crabs though.
There's a wonderful phenomenon called a splasher that makes
I
Dark Crabs
guess.
0 risk,
Dude,
and
why
you
are
get a lot
there
more
so
XP.
Splashing methods in the game, like, it's so, it's dumb. It ruins the integrity of the wilderness, in my opinion, to splash.
There's already no integrity in the wilderness to begin with, so who cares? Just stupid RNG.
The appeal of Dark Crabs is that they give decent XP, decent GP, and they're extremely AFK.
What's the XP per hour on Dark Crabs, by the way? Is it
40k?
Oh wow, 40.
Might be a
How
bit
much-
less,
how
but
much
I
is
thought
it
it
per
was
hour?
around 40. Yeah, with the Elite.
So how much GP an hour was it again?
Like 400k?
Oh.
So I'm
In my
thinking
opinion-
Solace Scale should be like a buff version of Sharks.
I feel like it should be like
They should have,
500k.
instead of making this whole Zora scale fishing method, they should have just buffed Fishing Trawler to be good GP per hour. So then, like, Fishing Trawler isn't dead, because I'm pretty sure it's kind of dead now that everyone got their outfit. Like, I think they should have made, like, Zora hunting rather than, Zora fishing.
What would you want the GP per hour to be on that?
I think it should be better than, I don't know, I think it should be pretty good. And,
It can't be really better than anything because that'd be just way
well,
too
no,
OP.
what you do is you just make Zora hunting, like, you make it maybe, like, a level, like, 50 method. So make it extremely low XP per hour, but, make it,
Let's
like,
make it
really good
dead
GP per
content?
hour or something like that. Huh?
So just make it dead content?
Well, AJ, you're only thinking in terms of the macro efficient scaling community. You have to consider everyone in the community. A main reason
Who would
why a
hunt
lot of
them?
people do Hunter in the beginning is to make money. Actually, the majority of people do Hunter to make money. So I feel like a lot of people that don't want to compete with the bots might do this method.
Sure.
No, AJ, I kind of agree.
No,
with you.
no,
I'm
that's
just
fine.
saying,
I agree with
I'm
you.
just
I
trying to
agree with
figure out a way to balance it. Because, in my opinion, with fishing, it's it's very hard to come up with an update to balance fishing, to be honest with you.
Fishing is
I
already
feel like with
balanced.
Hunter, the only method you will ever do for Hunter is Salamanders up to level 80, or 63 even, and then Chins all the way to Thermal. There's no variation in methods at all. It's just very generic. The Chins are the best GP and XP per hour methods, so it's,
They could make like a higher level salamander for it kind of thing.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but I don't know. There's so much Hunter content. I mean, we're definitely going off on a tangent at this point, but there's so much Hunter content in the game that you could vary up to make it better than just Chins and Salamanders.
I'm curious what, if anything, Jagex will do to modify Zora scale fishing. I'm not sure how the JMods themselves feel about it, because I haven't seen any feedback threads or anything.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. Anyways, though, moving on from Zora scales, next question is, what are your thoughts on boosting skills for quests, achievement diaries, and methods in general? Do you dislike or like this mechanic?
Personally, I guess I really just like the idea of like boosting for a level that you don't even have in the first place. The most notable level or levels are rune crafting, because you can be like level 86 rune crafting and boost to 91, for example, for the diary. I mean, obviously in the long term sense of Tutormal, it's not that big of a deal. It's just it kind of makes the diary requirement less and I guess easier of an achievement. And for Slayer, I'm not sure. Wait, can you guys confirm really quick? Do you need to boost something for Slayer? Like, do you need to kill an abyssal demon or something?
Iron Man
You can
generally
boost it
boost
for
plus
wildfire.
5.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Iron Man boost 5 for the whip. So on Iron Man, that's actually a lot of time that you need. So I mean, I don't know. Overall, I don't really agree with boosting, but it's not. And at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. I just don't like when people get the reward for not actually having the level. They could just easily boost it.
It only requires a few levels lower than the actual requirement, so I can't say I mind it too much.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm pretty sure for my diaries I like boosted every single level I could. But I don't mind. It kind of gives the items a use, because if you couldn't boost for diaries, then like those items would all be pointless. That dead content. And what I do, I actually like the skill K boosts. I use those a lot.
I don't mind the boosting. As you guys already said, you can boost for whip on an Iron Man at lower and it just saves a bunch of time. And you just have the annoyance of logging out and logging back in every minute. But overall, I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't feel like skilling and diaries should be that like related when it comes to making something more XP per hour. I rather just I kind of feel like if someone just wants to skill efficiently, they should just be allowed to do that and don't have to do any diaries or quests or EVM or anything like that.
I don't have a problem with it personally. We have content in-game that allows for boosting, and it gives demand to items that wouldn't have any demand otherwise, like garden pies, wild pies, summer pies, some potions. Just items that gain a niche use because they're used to boost for quests and diaries. I don't see it as harmful. So, and it's been in the game since RuneScape Classic, I would assume. So the idea of being able to do a temporary boost to your stats to complete content is just part of the game. And there have always been pieces of content where you can't boost. An example is for the Western Province Diary, you cannot boost to 93 Slayer to kill a Smoke Devil. You have to actually have 93. So, it's not like you can boost everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool they
Seems
have
like that's a very
exceptions.
conservative argument though. Like, just because something has been there for a long time doesn't mean that it's necessarily good.
Well, I think it's been there for a long time without any harmful effect on the game.
Oh yeah, sure, it hasn't done any harmful effect, but I also don't think it has any particular positive effects either.
So, neutral.
Yeah, I suppose, but I don't then see the point of being for it if it if it's like very unnecessary.
Just don't do anything. Waste of dead time.
I imagine most future content will continue to allow for boosting. I'm curious if the new quest, what stat requirements are going to do for it, and if players will be able to boost for them. But moving on from diaries, a question we have is in regards to Zaya. It's what are your thoughts on what was said about the 3 phases of Zaya? Just to clarify for people who are not familiar with the 3 phases of Zaya, this was during the old school content reveal at RuneFest 2015. The first phase is skilling, which is coming in January. That's going to include skilling methods for various skills with the families in the city. So that's a skilling focused update. The second phase is PVM based. It's going to be so-called raid dungeons. That's coming later in the year. And the final phase of Zaya is PvP based. All we know about it so far is there's going to be a Colosseum, and that won't be in the wilderness. So, still PvP content that's coming at the end of 2016, if I recall correctly. So, what's your opinion on these 3 phases of Zaya?
I don't really know, to be honest. I think they should have. I don't know. I guess it's kind of interesting how they're releasing a piece of content in phases. Like on RuneScape 3, I think they released Elf City in different batches as well. So it's going to be kind of interesting, like seeing sort of the entire like lore. I mean, I'm not a fan of lore, but it's going to be kind of interesting. Maybe there'll be like secrets or hidden things that'll be on the other parts of Zaya that will be teased out on the skilling one, for example, which is the first one being released. I just really hope the new. I didn't actually watch the podcast, or not the podcast, like the stream of Zaya, but I really hope it doesn't devalue any individual skills, especially in terms of XP per hour. I mean, I guess it'll be hard to introduce content that won't devalue XP per hour, but yeah.
They already said that they won't add any XP per hour method that's currently more than the already existing methods. So at least they have that promise.
Oh, really? Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Then. That's good. Yeah, I guess that's my opinion then.
I guess right now I'm just wondering which family is going to be the most useful. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the families come.
I'm actually quite surprised that skilling is actually the first phase that's coming out. Like I would have thought it would have been the last one. Like, because skilling is usually left in the dark. But cool that they're releasing in phases. I actually have nothing. Like I haven't seen it, so I don't even know what the family thing is about. But yeah, that's it.
I think it's cool that they're adding in a bunch of new things that other people will try and not any XP methods that are too overpowered. I also like some of the ideas with the families, even though it might make some things a little easier. Like they said something about for farming, the farming house, you get like extra herbs when you're planting your seeds or whatever. So that can be beneficial for Iron Man herb lore.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it in general, especially Soldier's Runic Crafting. It's going to be very interesting for me because it might determine if I want to go for 2D Runic Crafting or not after fishing. So it's going to be interesting to see like what would mostly count for me though. It's not really the GP per hour, but the methods you train it and how fun it will be. But yeah, and a lot of the other methods as well. They sound kind of fun as well. Although I'm not sure I'm gonna do them much or not, but I'll probably try most of them out at least, just to see how they're like and stuff. Dungeon raiding sounds kind of fun as well if I would be interested in some PVM related content. I think that seemed very successful in games like World of Warcraft. And Dungeoneering obviously was an interesting game for that. In a game.
Yeah, do we know if that's gonna be like a spin-off of Dungeoneering or not? Or are
It
they not
probably
Yeah.
is because they probably want
Mod-
to appeal to a lot of people.
Modric said Modric's working at Jagex. He described it as similar to Dungeoneering, but not actually Dungeoneering. That was a long time ago though, so I doubt even Jagex right now know what they want to do with that. They just have a vague concept that
Isn't
they'll
it just
develop.
released in like 2017 or some shit? Or
No,
like,
it's
like-
mid 2016.
Oh, okay. That's still a long time to be developed, so they have a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
time.
Exactly. I mean, it's possible they could offer us Dungeoneering as part of that, or they'll just do it as a PVM update. We'll find out. But as AJ said, I'm almost surprised that we're getting a skilling update first, because this is PVMscape, and I just assumed that it would be Slayer, PVM, and other things that most of the community like to do, not skilling. So I'm glad to see that they're offering high-level skilling content for players who will utilize it. I'm a little apprehensive about some of it though, because they've said you join one family, you get benefits from one family, but if you switch families, you lose the benefits you had with the other family. So I feel like you'll join one family and you'll kind of be locked into doing the skills associated with that family until you're done with them. You won't be able to skill hop as easily, which seems like bad game design. I think it's possible that this could reduce skill hopping among high levels if there is a significant difference between staying with one family for a long time and switching regularly. So I'm curious to see how the metagame is going to evolve.
I reckon that like the high-level skilling community or people in general are gonna eventually just find out which clan is the most efficient to stay in. Like there's probably just gonna be one that's a lot better than the other ones.
But it will
Or
depend on what skills you're training and your needs.
Yeah, of course. But I'm just saying, like, it might affect the order in which you do them all or something like that.
By the
Or
way,
maybe just which family that person in particular would find more useful for them. So there's the one family that would offer better weapons and stuff, and I think a lot of people would use that family.
But what if you're a professional skill hopper who wants to train 4 different skills a day, and that requires you to switch families once a day? You may not be able to, because it won't be macro efficient to do so.
Yeah, I guess, but I wasn't talking about high-level skillers. I was just talking about the average player.
Oh, okay. No, you're right, for the average player, they probably won't hop around too much.
Family hopping, new meta.
Family hopping.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's just breaking rules on a whole new level, eh, Brad?
Ah, yeah, you're so funny, AJ.
Well, it's content that could detriment skill hopping rather than help it, so that would be kind of different from everything we've had previously.
I just really like one of the things that I really hope they introduce with the Newsday Island or whatever is like a new quest, like new quests involved in it, because currently there haven't been any quests involved in the release of Old School, and so it'll be interesting to see like new quest lines tied to it.
They specified that somebody can walk off Tutorial Island and access there.
Really? Oh, wow. So, you
So-
know, they might put it like near like the back of Alcred Bank, like Dungeoneering was, or something like that. I don't know.
There's going to be no requirements to access it. I think it would be Port Sarim, not Alcred, because it's supposed to be content to the west of the game.
That's
So-
actually an interesting question. Like we could propose is, what are your guys' thoughts on content being able to be accessed right away, rather than like I guess like quests behind it and stuff like that. I know we discussed something similar on a previous podcast, but like, do you guys think that everyone should be able to access content, or do you guys think it should be held behind quests and such?
I guess if it's high level content, then it should be locked behind quests. If not, then it should be allowed for everyone.
I see.
It's like big, like game, like this is like a huge continent. It'd be kind of unfair almost to like lock it to like the high level.
Yeah,
That's such a
if you
huge
look
game
at the
addition.
current content, I mean, there's a ton of content that's also locked behind quests. I mean, like Ape Atoll.
The entire continent of
stuff.
Mauritania is locked behind quests,
Yeah.
and the Outlands too.
Yeah, the Outlands, that's what I was thinking of.
I think it's a cool idea. RS3 did something like Elf City. You had to do some high-level quests, but it wasn't that big of an area. But it was like a new area. But an area like Zaya, I think should be like almost for anyone because they're going to be putting so much time into it.
That's true.
Yeah,
The more time they spend on it, the more sense it makes to make it accessible to as many people as possible, so their content benefits as many people as possible.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I'm just making this correlation with like the rooftop agility update. I mean, like previous, like pretty much all the agility courses in game require some sort of quest behind them to access them, and then when they released rooftops, like all of them were accessible by everyone pretty much. So, and I don't know, I just disliked it in that sense.
I don't think they put much effort into the
But
rooftop.
that
Okay, next question, Vessel, or Ben?
at least at this artist moment it's challenging,
Next question.
but
We're not discussing how mentally challenging the ADI course is relative
no,
to
I
the
mean,
Gushikan
but
course.
I mean it's more boring though. So
It's a topic for another time. But yes, Zaya will be interesting, and we're going to find out in January, which is coincidentally the same time RS3 is releasing in beta, and that's definitely not a coincidence. Big content for both games start of the year.
We'll probably bundle it somehow. But again.
Oh, it'll be exciting. But alright, our next question is, would you like to see level 120 or 200 mil experience capes in old school? Why or why not?
Personally, like, it wouldn't really make any sense to do 120 capes just because there's no, basically, there's no XP that, like, stops at 120 in this game. Like, in RS2, they obviously have 120 engineering, so they have a static XP to go off in that game. But in this game, there's no XP that goes to that, so I think it would make more sense to do 100 mil capes, even. But, what are my thoughts on it? I don't know, I've always kind of been against this kind of cosmetic reward achievement sort of thing, because then it like gives people an extra motivation when going for high XP in a skill. Like they'll only do it because of the cape. It just like mentally motivates them to be able to achieve their goals. So yeah, I guess it'd be pretty cool cosmetically. Like I have the 120 agility cape in RS3. It looks really nice, like the particles and stuff. But I don't know. I like it when 99s are kind of more, or 200 mils are kind of more of a taboo kind of achievement that you go for.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way as Brad. Also, like, if they release 200 mil capes, you just see a bunch of people running around with 200 mil cooking capes. Like, more so than any other cape, so it wouldn't really look prettier.
Go Dreams.
I wouldn't like to see either because they both seem like waste of development time, since there aren't a lot of people with 200 mils and 120 in all of the skills. I guess if there are like hundreds of people with 200 mils in every single stat, then sure, but no, not right now.
I think if they ever made 120 capes, that'd be okay. Cosmetic. It does give people the extra motivation, which because then it gets more people playing instead of just logging in and logging out. But 200 mil capes, I don't really think so because people go for the ranks with them, and then you get your rank.
Okay. I think that would be nice with 200 caps, not 120 caps, but I think it would be nice with 200 caps if it was only for the free skills and not any of the Bibles or cooking or fletching or anything like that. Just because you can get unfair advantages with the Bibles, while the free skills are just all free game for everyone. So, but for the most part, I like tournaments as a more of a personal achievement than trying to show off or something. It would be kind of obnoxious if people are trying to show off like tournament thieving and stuff like that. So, I'm not sure actually, but I think they will be alright. But as long as they don't have like tournament cooking capes and stuff like that, because that would just be really annoying.
What? So you think they should make Twitter Mel capes for every single skill except cooking?
No, I said all the Bibles.
All the
fletching.
Bibles.
Yeah.
To be honest, like every skill is a Bible these days.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like crafting, herbal, I don't know, smithing.
All the easy skills, pretty much.
Yeah.
I like what Situation said about people already go for 200 more XP for a rank, so having a 120 cape will give players who just want a cape something to strive for, and then they're not necessarily going to continue on to the 200 mil because they might be motivated by the cape rather than the 200 mil achievement. Although it wouldn't really make any sense for 120s to be in this game because we don't have the virtual level, I would like them, and this is mostly out of self-interest because there are several nice 120s that I could get, and it would be nice to show those off. But at the same time, I think in the interest of the game, 200 more capes would be more logical. Just the issue with 200 mil is it's 23 new models for. There's a couple of those capes we're only going to see 1 or 2 people with for years, like mining, rune crafting, slayer, etc., farming. Those capes are going to be so rare that I question whether or not it's even worth the development time to make them.
That's exactly what I was saying.
It's
We
more
didn't
of a
make-
prestigious item, though. I don't see like they develop
Yes.
an item, and now you see the item, and it's like, oh, I want to go for that because nobody has it.
Valid point, but consider the max cape. They didn't make a max cape until there were over 100 max players, and the Jagex's reasoning for not making a max cape sooner was that there weren't enough max players to justify the development time. I feel we'd see
even
exactly the
100
same
players
argument
is-
used for the 200 mil cape.
I feel like 100 players
I feel like
is
it
so
isn't a-
insignificant as well. I mean, there's like, how many people play this game? Like 100,000 people at least? And only 100 are max? I feel like that could be seen as a waste of development time as well. I mean, relatively speaking, that's nothing. That are able to access that piece of content. But yeah, it honestly will be kind of cringe because I'm not even joking. When literally 200 mil capes come out, cooking is going to be a loss with sharks because everyone and their mother is going to be trying to get a 200 mil cooking cape. It's basically like the thieving cape of RS3. How everyone just went for 120 thieving after it came out for the E-date escape, basically.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like, it can increase like the price of all Bibles, so that actually wouldn't be a bad thing at all. For that
Yes, let's see,
reason.
cannonballs go to 300 each as everyone wants the 120 Slayer cape or
It
200
makes
mil
the
Slayer
achievement
cape.
more
Or,
impressive.
yeah, for
And
sure.
more money, or you alt-scape more, whatever you want to look
Yeah.
at.
It
I have to
encourages
flip
the use of
more.
Ultscape.
It does
Yeah.
encourage Ultscape.
Or staking.
Hypothetically, if you got 120 or 200 mil capes, are there any specific ones you guys would go for that you don't already have?
It honestly depends on how they look, really, to be honest with you.
What if they look like the RS3 ones, for example? A similar model.
I really like the mining cape, to be honest. It looks really nice. The light blue.
I would just do any
I'd probably
Turner
go
mill
for the
that,
magic one.
I don't have one that I would go for.
Well, I already have the agility 120, I guess, so that'll be fine with me.
I'm content with 120 Slayer. I probably wouldn't aspire to anything more than that.
I think the capes would sway me.
Probably.
Like to do a certain Turner mill, I'd just do whatever one I wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah, I was just going off cosmetic purposes of like how it looks. Like I really like the mining cape.
I like the
I
mining
can't-
cape too. It would have prestige in old school too, whereas in RS3, by the time the master cape for mining came out, we already had warbands.
Yeah.
I don't even know what any of them look like.
you should look. You should look them up.
Dungeoneering cape. It looks similar to that, or exactly the same as that, just the respective colors on the cape.
Yeah, different color and icon. You can see them on the RS Wiki sometime. You should probably take a look.
I know I've seen the dungeon one. Are they all similar?
Yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah.
Okay,
They have
actually look pretty
the
nice,
respected smoke for the trim of the cape and such.
It'd be nice to have particle effects in old school like that. That's like one of the reasons why I kind of would like to have the comp cape, because I really like the white particle effect.
Same, but Mod Ghost says it's not practical due to the way the engine works. So, we'll see. Mod John C said he wanted to do more achievement-related content for Old School in 2016, so he may have been referring to milestone capes, but we'll find out.
Like every 10 levels for every skill, is that what you mean?
Imagine a milestone cape for X amount of XP, base XP, like a 15
50,
mil
100.
skills or 20, or 20, 25. The skill
That would actually be
hoppers.
interesting.
Too many items.
That'd be interesting.
I'd hate that.
It would literally become more mainstream to go for base XP than cooking at that point, because people would want their cute little milestone capes to be wearing.
It's like an ongoing max.
Yeah, it is really.
It never ends.
Well, it would end, but...
Well, 200 mil, yes. But I'm hoping if we do get milestone capes, we do not get base XP capes, because I don't like the idea of that. If it was confined to individual skills.
Yeah, maybe
Right,
it was...
Go on.
Okay, it'd be a good idea, because then more people would go for base XP, so you get better ranks when doing tournaments, because less people would do them.
Oh,
that's true.
I wish that, I don't. I'm not related. I feel like they should make a mini game cape, because they have like the quest cape, they have the achievement diary cape, which is all under the tabs, but they don't have a mini game cape. I don't know what the mini game cape would involve. Maybe getting a certain achievement in a mini game, but I feel like it.
5,000 rounds of every minigame.
Oh.
Pyramid Plunder Castle Wars. Oh my gosh, man.
5,000 rounds of plunder. Have fun getting 100 mil plus thieving XP.
Hey, you get some XP out of it. So
It would be around
Oh
110
my
mil,
gosh.
I think.
Trouble
Trouble
Brewing
Brewing.
Blast Furnace.
It'd be the most depressing
kid.
thing ever. Trouble
Dude,
Brewing.
5,000 games of fishing trawler. Oh my god. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I think 5,000 is a little extreme.
Pest Control, Barbarian Assault. Oh my. Well, at least you get the pet with Barbarian Assault, to be honest. But yeah.
Pretty sure you get it way before 5,000.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, 5,000 temple trekkings. What other mini games are there? Yeah.
Oh, that was a comp cape requirement, like something similar.
5,000.
There was to get level 99 and all the temple checking people. It took about 30 hours on release. It was not fun.
I actually enjoyed that.
Jungle
Really?
Cleaner.
Oh.
I enjoyed it as well, actually.
I used to just get really mad at the old man who would do no DPS. But yeah, moving on from Capescape and its implications, the next question we have is, do you think that alt will ever become obsolete?
Personally, I honestly don't see I don't see how alts would ever become obsolete, unless, I mean, maybe for the very specific players, if they were to buy GP using bonds or something. But honestly, alts are so insanely OP. The idea of you not having to waste any time on your main account to gain progress on your main is such a huge advantage. Like I really don't see how that could be countered unless there was a macro efficient method that allowed you to afford tuner mill all. That profited you. Basically profited you. So, for example, hypothetically, let's just say that cooking profited you 8 billion GP. That's the only way that I could actually see that alts becoming obsolete in any form.
I don't see any reason that they would remove altscape, so I'm just gonna say no.
Alright, there's 3 things that would at least hinder your ability to altscape. One's free trade. The other one is making multi-logging an actual rule again. And the third one is what Brad said about the a macro efficient method being paying enough money, or making enough money for tournament all. Like, one of those 3 things would have to happen for it to have any effect.
I don't think alts will ever become obsolete unless what AJ said comes true.
Yeah, I can definitely see it happening where they limit free trade for sure. And that would be kind of cool if they did, because then other problems will be solved as well, like donations or staking or scamming, or a lot of those problems we have today with free trade. But I don't think it will ever be obsolete, although, like mentioned earlier, it might not be macro efficient at some point. Maybe, for example, sovereigns become very good money per hour, then you don't really need to use alts, I guess, for Bibles. Although I still think people will use alts for Bibles because they like to do the Bibles before runecrafting, so they can get the fast XP. So I'm not sure. The only way it will be obsolete will have to be if they just put it as a rule again, or if free trade came out. I mean, limiting free trade.
As everyone else has said, the two main ways would be if the rules were changed or trade was changed, so alts didn't become viable. Short of that, unless we get a possible new update being a runecrafting monster that you can kill for 60k an hour runecrafting and 3 mil an hour GP, Altscape is still going to be the meta game. Or, well, as an alternative to flipping, because people, if given the choice between using an alt and flipping for GP, they're more likely to go for the alt in my opinion, just because it's consistent and it's relatively low effort in my opinion.
I mean,
So-
to counter the idea of almost infinite GP per hour is pretty much unparalleled, unless, yeah, as you guys said, free trade. So,
I'd rather
Binge?
make multi-logging bannable. Free trade being instated is sort of extreme, especially for a game like Old School.
I don't know how realistic it is for Jags to like enforce the multi-logging rule, because even like 2 years before it was like against the rules, people still did it to fund GP and
Yeah, but
boosting.
significantly less people would do it if it was actually a rule.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
People do it because they're allowed to do it, and it's like 100% quote unquote legit.
Yeah.
By the way, this my turn of thought, Doc.
Well, technically speaking, like, okay, here, just as an example, technically speaking, AHK is against the rules because it's a third-party software, but it's, like technically Jags could ban you for it because it's not within the rules. It's against the rules to use a third-party software like OS Buddy or AHK, but people do it because it gives you such a big advantage.
I remember-
People.
I forget which mod it was. I think it might have been mod Matt K. Said on Reddit that if you've been using AHK for a while, and that you can safely assume that what you're doing is legal. So, like, I mean, like the basic AHK that people use, so like drop items or whatever. I'm pretty sure they don't care about that at all.
Jagex will always maintain that any AHK use can result in your account being banned, but provided that you act within responsible limits, you are unlikely to be banned from what we've seen, so kind of ambiguous about AHK.
What's like the worst? Like when someone being banned for AHK. What was like the closest to the limit that someone's ever been banned for? Like 1 to 3, 1 to 4.
I'm trying to think, who do I know who's been banned for using AHK and it wasn't a ridiculous script?
Yard should be banned.
That's a ridiculous script, though.
There was a girl in Hexus back when I was a general there in early 2013. She was using a 1 to 6, I think, and she got banned for 2 weeks. And then I believe she later got permed for using the same script, so that's the most I can think of. But yeah, just 1 to 1 is a fair guideline, although it's not always accurate.
I could have
I
went
was
from
gonna say
alts to
earlier
AHK.
that like you can also use the alt for different things. So even with free trade being limited, you could say like use a splasher, for example, while you're hunting or rock crabs or anything like that. So it doesn't necessarily have to, the use of alts doesn't necessarily have to be obsolete with free trading being restricted. So I think the only possible way it will be completely obsolete would be if they actually didn't allow it anymore, and you would get banned if you got caught doing it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only way. Or if everyone is converted to an Iron Man, which I guess would be the same thing. But yeah.
I know there are
Go
people that do the stealing creation thing in RSC that like Jagex have like said many times that that's like you can just be banned for that, and there's still some people that do that.
Oh,
For
3-minute SC games, the RS3 meta, it's bug abuse for sure.
It's so dumb how the meta is to bug abuse. Like, what the it's cringe. I mean, yeah.
So it's legally defined as mechanic abuse, and it's not necessarily bannable. But from what I understand, SC ult abuse is bannable, but people do it. So Ultscape will always be the meta in some way because, as Vessel just points out, which no one else had mentioned, you can use ults for methods other than just GP gathering.
No, yeah, that's true.
I mean, if alts like in terms of GP gathering was bannable, then it would make their significance a lot smaller, like a hell of a lot smaller.
See, the thing
You're
with
just using it for like splashing and stuff.
the thing with alts is like, and why Jags like allows it and they're so in favor of it is because it grants them so much more money. Because like imagine if every player in this TS like made another account. It's basically like 12 more accounts that are paying membership being used basically. So yeah. So they'll never basically, I don't think, ever limit free trade because of that factor, because it gets them so much more money.
I think we can conclude the ult is here to stay.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unless you said before, Finn, like a method where you made like 3 mil an hour or something like that was efficient.
Well, people would still use ults for situations like free tick. People could still use ults for free tick coding, or
Yeah.
They wouldn't have to, but they could.
Yeah.
So
When I look at alts, I just look at like funding your viables pretty much.
yeah, it's just the main way they're used. But alright. Our next question is actually real life related, so this will be interesting. We've been asked what were your favourite subjects in school, and what do you study currently if you're involved in education?
My favorite subject in school has always been history. I've always involved historical facts involving like what has happened in basically history. Yeah, I've always I guess enjoyed the factual part of it and seeing what people did compared to what they do now. As far as what I'm doing now, I'm currently in a community college, so I'm just taking general ed courses, but I want to eventually take computer science and in a university. So yeah, that's my current plan.
Well, right now I'm going into biology and I'm interested in genetics.
In school, I really enjoyed math and physics, but in uni right now, I'm majoring in accounting and minoring / whatever you call it in finance.
My favorite subject in school is always math, and when I take classes, it's early childhood education.
Currently I got some classes in psychology, international English, math and Spanish. But as for next year, I'm not sure because I got a lot of choices. I'm probably gonna choose some kind of university. I really like psychology, history sounds interesting to me, English and literature as well. I feel like there's a lot to choose from, so I'm really not sure what I'm gonna do yet. But I usually find a lot of social science related subjects very interesting. Especially psychology really fits my personality, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna study that.
In school, I was a big fan of classics and literature. I really liked that aspect of social science. But in university, I study computer science and linguistics. I want to go into machine translation. Yeah, well, kind of nerdy from how it sounds.
I'm glad that my career path didn't sway too much from my interests.
Yeah, I really wish I really want to be able to like study like history and such like as a major in college. There's just not very many job opportunities for history besides I guess being a teacher, and like I'm terrible at explaining things and I get really nervous in front of people, so it's not really realistic for me personally.
Be a very
Okay.
entertaining teacher.
For
I
sure.
would. I don't think so, dude.
The whole class would just be you like rambling. It'd be great.
Well, as far as interests changing between high school and university, at least for me, I couldn't study linguistics at school because it wasn't an option, and computer science clashed with math on my timetable, so I couldn't take it in my last 2 years. So I only discovered those interests when I went to university.
I'm honestly not even sure. I'm not even fully sure of my interests yet. I'm just kind of going with what I found first.
Okay, our next question is, do you consider switching between different methods of a skill on the same level as skill hopping?
It's a very strange subject to delve into, to be honest with you. Like Vestfold often hates on me for doing Dorg because or Dorish Con Agility because it's the same exact skill as Artie essentially because you're gaining XP in the skill of agility.
Unless
However-
mentally challenging.
Sure, whatever. But I don't look at a player's. I don't say a player necessarily just has 200 mil agility. I look at what method they did. I think the method is far more important than the skill that they did. Like for example, a player could do, like hypothetically, do shrimps to 200 mil cooking, and obviously doing shrimps to 200 mil cooking would be like more than 3,000 hours of cooking, and so therefore, in my opinion, it would be actually a pretty notable achievement. But if a player were to do the mainstream, I guess, magic logs for fire making, it wouldn't be deemed as impressive because it's only like 700 hours or 600 hours or something like that. So at the end of the day, it really it doesn't really matter what rank you are or what XP you got necessarily in a year or a month. For me, I guess I value the micro efficiency and what skill or what method you did to achieve your goals because it's, I don't know, I value the method more than the skill. So at the end of the day, I don't really view it as skill hopping personally. I mean it could be seen as more mentally easy. However, I don't know, it's not that big of a deal to me if you change methods in a skill.
I guess for that, I do it all the time since I hop regularly from red to black chains. And yeah, as long as one method is as efficient as the other, then I guess I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, I kind of view skill hopping as pretty much the same concept as method hopping of a certain skill. Like, for example, if I just went from quarry to motherlode mine, I'd consider that on the same level as skill hopping because one, I was either burnt from. I'd definitely be burnt from quarry. I had no other reason to do motherlode mine. Yeah, and if it's like method hopping between the skill, and you're doing that straight to 200 mil, it's like less of an achievement because you weren't able to do the same method all the way through 200 mil.
I don't see method hopping as skill hopping all the way because you're still doing that skill and only sticking to that skill. Maybe you're just bored of a different method and you might be getting demotivated to switch to the other method to keep doing that skill sometimes.
I really agree with AJ, but I'm a bit more moderate, I would say. Like, I definitely think method hopping is the same thing as skill hopping. Like, that's one reason why I rather do a guilty than just Baltic fishing. Is that I just see it as the same thing anyways. So even though not skill hopping is more method challenging, I guess you'd say, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're just Baltic fishing, it's the same thing as doing just hopping and doing some agility, in my opinion. And I also. It is definitely a bit mentally easier to skill up, but I also feel like it's kind of necessary sometimes. So, I mean, it's better than burning out. So if you feel like you kind of have to skill up, or if you're starting to feel burnt out or something like that, then you should probably just skill up and not try to exceed your own limits. So then you can try to achieve as much as you can. And it's definitely not like, you know, like 200 mil mining at quarry is 200 mil mining at quarry. Like, even if a skill up thing is still an enormous achievement. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So.
I don't see method hopping as negatively as skill hopping, I suppose, because the way I view it is that even if you're changing between methods of the same skill, you're still training the same skill. So I don't really I don't have a problem with it either way. But
Okay, so Finn, just a counter argument. Do you think Silverhawk boots are the same thing as Arty Course? Because you're both gaining agility XP. I'm just curious. What about
Absolutely.
that flaw to your argument? Oh, absolutely. Okay, yep. Okay.
That's an extreme
Flaw.
example, Brad.
It's a zero time method. It's exactly the same thing, Brad. I'm sorry.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
still a method of training agility. So if somebody does 50 mil XP on RD and then they get Silverhawks for the rest of it, they still train agility to 70 mil.
Okay, you guys, I'm resigning from Solace. Have a nice
The
day.
problem is that the reason why people would method hop in the first place is because they're bored of that method. That'd be the same exact reason why people would skill hop in
Yeah,
the first
that's very
place.
true.
But
People
that's why I
do
do
it
it on
for
the
the same
same level.
See, this is why Slayer is so easy because you're changing methods every single hour.
Well, Slayer is a continuous
Uh,
process of method hopping because I have a different method for every task.
Yeah,
Or
so now we know why it's the most popular skill because it's so easy because you're always method hopping.
But no, skill hopping I perceive to be different because you're changing skills, and do not bring in Silverhawks as an argument because that does not exist
Oh no,
in
we
all
can
school
bring it in.
RuneScape.
We can use warbands as an example as well if you want. I mean,
I would argue that Warbands isn't a method.
How is it not? You're gaining
What?
You're gaining 1.2 mil mining XP per hour by going to a tent in the
It's
middle
not
of
really
the
my
wilderness.
training though, I consider passive daily methods
You're
different.
in the skill thing, bar. You're training it. How do you define training a skill then?
Spending a non-zero amount of time on it. A non-trivial amount of time. Using a method grinding a specific
are you going
method.
to be doing Dartscape to 200 mil fletching then?
Dartscape?
Yeah, Dartscape. Are you going to be doing that? Because that's a questionable amount of time. You're only spending like 100 hours, less than 100 hours. That's the same as
I will
Warband,
do
pretty much.
well, it's non-trivial though because I'll be doing it consistently. I'll sit in the bank for several days consecutively. Don't you see the difference? We're spending 5 minutes a day on the skill versus spending 15 hours on skill for 5 days.
But you should, okay, in the macro efficient mindset, you should be doing it in 0 time. So in a sense, it's the same thing as Silverhawks.
But I don't conform to the macro efficient mindset 100%. That should be evident by the fact that I barrage my levels and I don't imbue during Slayer.
Yeah, it is.
I thought you argued that it is macro efficient for you though.
It is
For
because
Slayer,
I don't
the
conform to
individual
the
skill.
standard macro efficient mindset. Like, I'm not going to imbue, therefore barraging smoke levels is efficient for me. Equally, I'm not going to do 0 time fletching during Slayer, therefore fletching darts in the bank is the best thing for me. So, that's how you can look at it. No, I can see why you guys feel skill hopping and method hopping are similar.
I mean, like if you're runecraft and then you go to agility, it's kind of like the same thing. It's like you're switching a method of like training EHP, for example.
Yeah, here's a good example. It's like going from like craft. Well, actually, that's a terrible example. It's like going from crafting to like cooking. It's like the same exact method, but it's different skill. I don't know.
Are we gonna say that crafting, herblore, and cooking are all the same skill then? Because you do wines,
pretty much, they're
14,
very
it's
similar.
14-14 for all three, unless you try hard and do venoms or caroms.
What is your opinion? Do you think they're the same?
Same method, different skills. So, I'd say you're skill hopping, but you're not method hopping. As strange as it sounds.
That is a very strange statement.
I don't know what to say to that because I haven't done that before.
I have
Don't
no
worry, it's not
comment either.
difficult.
Moving on from the complexities of skill hopping versus method hopping, our next question is, how important is your reputation to you?
This is a very strange. I honestly didn't even think about this question at all before it was asked. I mean, I guess I care a lot that people know that I'm not, I guess, quote unquote, cheating while playing RuneScape. Like, I'm not using 0 time GP. I'm not. I guess I'm sticking to my. I guess morals are obviously really important, especially when I evaluate a player. So when a player knows, I guess, that I would never go against my morals or never cheat, to gain an advantage over another player, it's actually it's a really good thing. Like I want to know for 100%, or I like when people know for 100% certainty that I would never buy spins, I would never do Guthans, I would never use 0-time GP to basically devalue my achievements. I guess I really like that feeling, knowing that I'm pretty much a purist, and that I would never do anything that heavily devalues a certain skill or method. So yeah, reputation is actually very important to me. Because I guess it defines who I am as a player, as a RuneScape player. It's one of the big things that defines me, in my opinion.
I don't really care what other people think of me. I mean, as long as I know I didn't cheat or whatever, then it's all good. I don't care what another person says about me.
I definitely value my reputation a lot because I remember like when Vestfold made the skilling discussion video, I actually had like thoughts of like wishing I wasn't on it for a few times just because like I know people would think I'm like an elitist or something. But like I like overthink things sometimes. But yeah, definitely care about my reputation.
You don't regret being in it, do you?
What?
You don't regret being in it, do you? The discussion
What about it?
video. Do you regret being in it?
Not anymore.
So
Not really.
I value mine to the point of people know I'm not like fake. How I kind of act online is like what I'm like in real life, and that's like the reputation of not being fake or something.
Fake? What do you mean?
Like, you know how some people online, they'll like talk a lot or something, and they'll just act all tough, but in real life they're not. They're just really like thing, and then online they're nice. Like both the same, like in real life and online. So yeah.
I know what you mean. Like someone tries to act like a tough guy online, in reality they wouldn't say shit to you in real life. To your face.
Correct. Like that. I value mine as I'm just who I am. People don't like it, they don't have to like it.
I really don't care what my friends think of me for the most part. Right now I like playing the game for personal achievement and fun and talking to friends and all that. And the public kind of sucks to me. I don't really want to interact with them that much. I do respond to people usually. I don't know, I'm getting tired of answering the same questions over and over again, and I don't really care if people think I'm fartic fishing or critic fishing or whatever, if I'm botting or like a lot of people are actually accusing me of botting at the barbarian spot, and usually I don't even bother responding to them because I don't think it's worth it.
Yep, elitist.
Wow.
No, you're an idiot, Brad.
Oh my god, I'm so
I just find
offended. Oh
I
my
just find it
gosh.
so stupid. Yeah, I don't think it's worth responding to them. Like, they can think that I'm a bot, but I don't care. Yeah,
Sorry, go on.
I don't think I'm an elitist though, because I do like to respond to people if they actually have like genuine questions or try to be nice, stuff like that. But if they're just acting stupid or whatever, then yeah, I just don't give a fuck about them basically.
Yep, elitist. Anyway, Finbar?
I value my
Fuck you,
reputation rather highly because I want people to perceive me accurately, so they know that the way I behave on here is the same as I am in person. The way I play the game, I'm quite honest about how I play. I don't use ults for GP on old school. I made some money from Darkscape, but not a lot. I'm generally opposed to the evaluation of XP, that kind of thing. I want people to know that, but I don't necessarily care so much about what the average player thinks, because I don't really see them on a regular basis or anything, so their opinion, it just doesn't matter as much what the general, like what a regular person thinks. But unlike Vestfold, I will talk to every noob who PMs me because my PM's always on all.
And RP mod.
Just because I'm a player moderator, it doesn't matter. I
Yes,
like
it does.
engaging with the noobs. I have a PM on all Over 2 years, Brad. Come on now. Well, I do value reputation highly, and I bear it in mind with my actions at times because I know that if I do something wrong, it's going to reflect negatively for both myself and Solace, so I have to bear that in mind. So I try to stay out of drama and such because I don't want to damage reputation.
I kind of get overly stressed when like about like people disliking me. I guess I don't know. I try to be as nice as I can and like keep my opinions of people to myself to the best of my ability. I get like really, I don't know.
I think it's important for players to. You can value your reputation, but if random people are mean to you or rude for some reason, you shouldn't really get bothered by it because
I mean, like in terms of the community.
I see. I think most of us value the opinion of the high-level skilling community perceived as in the game as a whole.
Yeah, I mean,
for
like,
obvious reasons.
look at like Randy, for example. Like everyone knows that like Randy is like a garbage player now because he takes everyone knows that he takes donations. Okay, everyone knows he takes donations.
What do you guys talking about? It's true.
I mean, like how you guys are freaking out, but this is like everyday conversation in Solace, so we argue about this stuff. But yeah, like no one perceives Randy as like an amazing player or anything because he takes donations. Like, is anyone like besides the average player? Is anyone in the high-level community like, oh my God, Randy's so good at this game? No, he's fucking garbage. Like no one really cares. Like his reputation is terrible, and it will be ruined for the rest of his RuneScape career because he took donations. Another perfect example is Suomi. He took donations for Tuner Mall to be able to fund his Bibles. Now, it's not to say that he couldn't do it, but yeah, it's just another example of it's just donations, for example, are one of the biggest things that ruin a player's I guess reputation, and that's
I think
why
being convicted of previous offences doesn't help either. For example, there are some players who have done questionable things in the past and it damages their reputation, like recently or even further in the past. So, not naming any names, of course, but
yeah, I mean, like Trickle is another perfect example. He's just like he's basically a very immature player in Hexus that just trolls and watches anime all day, like just ruin reputation permanently. And he doesn't care at all about the integrity of the game either, so he basically supports the idea of spins and such.
So Brad, do you really think that Randy is a shit player just because he takes donations?
No, it's definitely a huge contributing factor. I mean, it literally shows that he does not give a fuck. He will do whatever it takes to gain the advantage over another player. He listens to like that stupid gangster rap music, and he's like, I don't give a fuck, nigga, like or something like that. Like, you know, like I don't know. It's just the music he listens to is just retarded.
Hey, just stop for a second. What did this turn into?
Yeah, this is completely going off tangent, but I felt like it needed to be said. Okay.
Well, I mean, he's ranked 2 XP and 11 HP, so how bad can it be?
Okay, Vessel. Is that a teaser for your rap now?
okay, I think we've had quite enough shots from other players for this podcast.
Okay, but isn't it true, like how it ruins a player's reputation? How donations ruins a player's reputation?
It's valid, but let's not name any names.
But it's fun. Okay, next question.
I think it's a little too late for that.
Okay. Moving on from that topic, our next question is significantly less controversial. Do you take breaks while playing longer hours? If so, how frequent and how long are these breaks?
Honestly, I actually never really take breaks to play RuneScape other than to get food, go to the bathroom, and sometimes I say hi to my dog, if you count that as a break. I mean, yeah, I guess it makes it a little bit more mentally easy to say hi to my dog, but it's a cute dog, like seriously, it's just so cute. So yeah.
These breaks usually involve going to class and going out to eat or whatever and just hanging out with other people.
Wait, does that imply that RuneScape's your life and real life is the break, rather than vice versa?
Oh, yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, I guess excluding obligations like school and work. I guess I don't always, but like sometimes I'll take breaks which would be like 5 to 10 minutes. Like, I guess like similar to Brad, like just chilling out with my pets, or just like going for a walk or something. Like excluding bathroom breaks and stuff like that.
My breaks or I take breaks every few hours. If I'm on for a while, I'll just go to the bathroom, get Mountain Dew or something. Not much. Or play a quick game on my phone for like 5 minutes.
Festival.
What?
Stop AFKing or fishing and answer the question.
Oh, what was the question again?
Do you
First
take
of all,
breaks
the
while playing RuneScape, basically?
And if so, how long are the breaks?
Oh, do you mean one no laughing, or do you mean just
Just
normal
interpret it how you will.
I don't want to. I just want to know what they.
When we're fine, when regularly playing, and then when they're laughing. Give us a compare and contrast.
Okay, yeah, because there is quite a contrast between those. When I'm not laughing, I try to save as much time as possible. So I take like 2 minute showers. I try to even if it's like something that's really impractical to eat while cheating fishing or something, I still try to do it. And I pretty much do everything as quick as I can. But if I'm not laughing, then usually I take it a bit more chill. Can I hang out with my family a bit, or take a bit longer showers, just like that.
So, in other words,
I
you're
also started
burning out.
going to the gym. I also started going to the gym recently.
Oh my gosh, you're turning into Kai Man! Oh my gosh, Dan's game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be buff and even more handsome than I am now. So.
Oh my gosh. And you say you're not an elitist! It's hilarious!
What?
It's so funny!
What? I'm not elitist.
That's the most false statement ever said. Okay, no one cares. Finbar.
I am handsome. It's just a fact. Fact of life.
Okay, Vestfal's ego aside, I take breaks every couple of hours for a few minutes because I go to prepare food, go to the bathroom, that kind of thing. I also sometimes I might just take a few minutes off if I'm if I'm playing for like 7 or 8 hours straight, I haven't done anything else, I will take a few minutes and just check my emails, or if I don't have any work or if I don't have any assignments or anything like that, I'll do some other task that needs doing. So I don't take a lot of breaks, but I do take breaks throughout the day because it helps me stay motivated. And relatively short ones
So
though.
could it be seen as an unfair advantage to have breaks? Because it helps you motivate, or
Everyone can take breaks.
No, because everyone can take breaks.
Well, like, what if you're like forced to like sit down and play RuneScape?
Why would you be forced?
I don't know. That's probably what happens to Link's Titan. That's how he's able to do what he does.
The thing is, like, he's being paid by someone being forced to play or something.
Yeah, like Jags might be paying him.
Real life is XP waste. Let's just keep that in mind.
I guess personally, like, I get bored quite a lot when I'm playing, like, quite frequently. So like breaks are almost essential for me because I probably wouldn't be playing today if I wasn't taking breaks. Just like kind of eases my mind long term.
I think we'll take Dreamscape's wise words here and say that taking breaks is XP waste, and RuneScape should be your life, and the breaks are your real life. So, moving on from taking breaks,
Okay.
Next question is, what is the hardest skilling method to master in your opinion?
Antivenoms. It's a fact, not an opinion. Right, okay, I know Brad is gonna say manual prayer, but actually got a 1-tick limit per bone. So it's definitely not as hard to master as Venoms. Venoms you can do up to 14 at a time, so it's pretty much unlimited skill.
Okay, well, other than
that-
Venom,
Okay,
yes,
thank you
yes.
for sticking to the speaking order, Vestful. It's my turn.
No problem, bitch.
Okay, I am what I eat. But anyway, the most intense method, in my opinion, is 1-tick prayer. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Randalicious could even do 1-tick Venoms. So therefore...
No,
You
he
see,
did.
Randall is just what AFK
No,
is prayer, so therefore he's not capable of
did he
doing
make
one
10,
tick
Did he
prayer.
make 10 minutes per tick? No, he didn't make 10 minutes per
Yes,
tick.
but that is an
He made
unrealistic rate
made
for a
like
human being. No, shut up, Vessel, you're stupid and wrong.
no,
One
you're
tick
stupid.
venoms, or doing 10 venoms in one tick is completely unrealistic to be able to do. One tick
It's not
prayer
one tick.
takes so
You do
much
like
skill to
10 venoms
master.
in one tick.
Huh?
You do like 10 minutes in one tick, and Randy's
10 minutes in
completely
one
shit.
tick.
Randy's called garbage at that method.
But he uploaded a video, I think, of him doing it or something. He's capable
Yeah,
of
but
doing
he was bad at it.
it.
That's the
Randy
thing.
is just gonna AFK his prayer, and you know it.
Well, yeah, but he also AFK'd his Herblore, and he was really
No,
bad
he
at
uploaded
the
a
Venom
video
method.
of
I
him
heard he
doing
hasn't
one
even
tick venoms.
practiced it.
He's capable of doing venoms, Vessel.
I'm going to AFK my prayer, Brad. Does that make me a bad person?
Well, I mean, that's obvious. You're an RS3 player, but like, we're talking about Randy.
Oh, okay, we'll just say tick fishing is the hardest method then.
No, it's no. You don't even. Okay. The reason I don't think three-tick fishing is very difficult. I've heard from very reliable sources, like also known as Trickle, because Trickle says he's a very lazy player, and so if a lazy player like Trickle can do it, I don't think it's the most intense
Oh,
method.
but he
doesn't
doesn't do
three-tick
the
that
method
way.
I'm doing though. He does a different method. Super bad.
I'm just saying, like,
Doesn't even know what to
three-tick
do.
fishing is easy. Like, even like Ray said, it's easy to master after a while. So
Oh yeah, after a while, yeah, but everything is like that.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, one tick venoms and prayer. Those are pretty difficult, but I think Artie course is the most difficult.
You're just asking for a ban, aren't you?
Pretty much.
Oh my
Dream-
gosh.
Dreamscape, please elaborate. What makes Articles the most difficult scaling method in the game?
I don't know. I mean,
It's the most boring. So.
It's pretty boring. Yeah, as Vessel said.
Yeah,
That's what
Method
makes it the
challenging.
most difficult. Yeah.
yeah. We know what to talk about.
I'm
Gorg
gonna
is,
take.
Exactly.
Gorg is one of the easiest agility courses in my opinion
come to
because
level
it's the fastest
14. Come to level
14
14 Dorgishton right now. I will shit on
No.
your life, Dorg. Like, I will destroy you. Like, there's... Like,
No, yeah, but long term it's the easiest to grind because
Why?
it's fun. It's fast XP per
No,
hour.
we're not
having-
Both of you,
Super
stop.
energy
We're not
level.
having this
Okay.
situation. What is your opinion
Hey,
on
whoa,
the
whoa,
hardest
whoa,
scaling
whoa.
method?
Whoa.
Let's
whoa,
let
Well,
AJ go
AJ.
first.
AJ, you can go first.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take this question as hardest skill and method besides Venoms, which is prayer.
Thank you.
The manual prayer.
Alright, I think any very click intensive skill that requires a ton of clicking to master to do it like 20 hours a day non-stop without failing it, that would be the most difficult thing for me, I guess.
Can you give an example?
Something like, I don't know, I haven't done construction in years, so when I started it the other day, I was getting like terrible XP rates, but then like it just kept adding on in prayer. Prayer is something I can semi-do like better. But just being able to do something for like 5 hours at a time is easier compared to doing something for like 20 hours straight, maximum efficiency, mastering that skill, like to do it non-stop, no fails. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to have to go with the majority and say that prayer because of the tedium involved. But I think a little mentioned one is, I don't know about you guys, but I think it would be a little difficult to do a perfect farming run, missing 0 ticks. I feel like I try to, and I just misclick sometimes, or maybe I forget something, or I go in a suboptimal order because it's the morning and I'm tired. I don't know, I feel like doing every farm run perfectly is more difficult than it appears, and that includes getting all the stuff for farming in the minimum time available, so taking out your farming tab
You
without
can't
missing
really
any time.
grind. You can't really
Well, that
grind
goes for
tea farming
anything
like
without
and
missing.
everything else.
It's still a method though, Vestals, you do it twice a day.
Yeah, I know that's why it's harder because you can't grind it and you can't get like harder over the course of one day. You just have to do it and then do something else. So
No,
it's
I
not
agree,
like
there's
you
a
can
grinding
practice
method,
it.
pro is more difficult, but I think farm is worth mentioning.
I always play the most difficult grinding method
It's
by the
more
way.
Maybe
difficult.
rage quit.
And also definitely harder.
And Vessel,
I rage quit during prayer.
You could fail doing prayer by bearing a bone.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can also drink the venom potions as well.
But you have to have downs to do that, dude. Like, prayer is a
I
lot more
do it all the
difficult.
time when you're doing it really fast, really hard. Didn't you remember me seeing doing the anti venoms? I think I screen shared you
Yeah, I
on
also
Skype.
saw Randy doing Venoms as well. He was just as good as you.
I did like 100 times faster than him. What the fuck?
I don't know, dude. Randy has suitable herbivore and you don't, so he's clearly superior, Captain.
Yeah, okay. He did it for like 1 minute already, then he stopped recording and then went back to his Stardom and Bruce or whatever and got to the main.
Okay, before any more shots are fired at certain players on the high scores, let's move on from the hard skilling method.
Yeah,
Next
but
question.
I'm right on everyone else as well.
And you're not
Of course,
elitist.
first fault. Not elitist. Anyways, with the value of old school GP decreasing relative to RS3 GP due to inflation, RS3 alts are becoming more profitable to run than they used to be. How do you feel about this, and should we expect top old school players to start playing RS3 for Altscape instead of old school?
Okay, I have two main points that I kind of want to bring up for this. Number one is the fact that, like, I feel like a lot of old school players dislike RS3 just because of how complicated it is compared to old school. Obviously, old school is a lot more simplistic in terms of the interface and basically how you. I mean, the meta is kind of always changing in RS3, like constantly, and so I feel like RS or old school players might not be able to adapt as fast. And the other main point is, I don't think that they would do that even if it was better GP per hour, just because I don't think there was really any old school players, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there was any old school players that made dead man alts purely to make GP to fund their main among the high level community. I don't think that was a thing. So and it was a lot more efficient to make a dead man alt because you can make insane GP per hour. You probably make an upwards of like 15 mil an hour playing dead man for old school. It's just a lot more high risk and risky to play it. And I feel like a lot of old school players will also want to transfer GP from RS3 to old school. It's just a lot more sketchy of a system, and yeah. But the only reason you could bring up, in my opinion, for playing RS3 as an old school is the fact that a lot of methods in RS3 are very AFK compared to old school, and you're able to play more than like 3 of them at a time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that answer, except I'm just gonna add that there are still a lot of AFK viable Altscape methods. So I'm just gonna add that in there, like cooking crams.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely cool that there's I guess, like more diversity in alts. And I kind of felt that, but before you said that, Brad, that I feel like there would be more players that would use RS3 alts because the same went for RS3 players using old school alts. But now that I think about it, maybe that might not be the case. I would have kind of liked if there were less RCers or RC alts on the RC top page, but I feel like that wouldn't change anything.
I think there will be some RS3 alts because people always do the best type of thing. Not everyone will, but some people might, and that's my view on it.
I don't give a fuck. Next.
Okay. I think old school players will continue to use old school alts because they don't want to learn how to play RuneScape 3. Let's just take an example of a commonly used RuneScape 3 alt. It's called a Droga alt. It involves killing these monsters that drop dragon pickaxes. To do this requires a lot of quests. Like, I think 20 plus quests to do that, and you'd have to learn all the RS3 low level methods. Old school players don't want to do that. They're going to stick to the runecrafting, wyverns, and the Karanda shop. But RS3 players who are coming to play old school, or who play both games already, are going to have an advantage if they're using RS3 alts. This is because they already know how to play RS3, and learning how to play old school is easier than learning how to play RS3 in my opinion. So, I'm expecting us to see more RS3. I'm expecting us to see old school players continue to use old school alts, but players who play both games to use RS3 alts if the exchange rate continues to decline. this is because it will just be more time efficient for them to use RS3 alts because they're generally more AFK. And it's easier to make multiple as opposed to, say, a ringcrafting alt.
You could actually also like merch on I'm pretty sure it's still more efficient to like merch on RS3 and transfer to old school. Like that'd be a lot of GP per hour as well.
Merching in old school would be better.
Really? Oh, okay.
Unless you've got a lot of money. It's more competitive in RS3. And all party hats are above max cash now, so it's street trading, which is time consuming.
Fair enough.
Wouldn't it only be efficient if dual-gear alts were making, I don't know, more money than nature rune alts?
Well, what if, let's say the rate went down to 1 to 3, and let's say you made 3 mil on a Drogo alt in RS3, which then became 1 mil in old school, and you made 1.5 mil in nature alt. You could probably run 2 Drogo alts at the same, like run 2 of those alts versus running 1 nature alt. I feel like it would be better to run the 2 alts because that'll be more AFK. It just requires more startup time, so I'm thinking RS3 players will start doing that, whereas old school players won't bother because they already have their established old school alts. And crucially, we still have the Kuram Restore, which is the most OP money making method in the game.
Well,
so,
a lot of people don't have computers that are good enough to run 2 RS clients. So
oh, that's a really good point actually. RS3 requires more CPU, so you need a better computer. Now that could be perceived as an unfair advantage, so I'm not sure. But I feel that RS3 alts will become more powerful overall compared to old school alts as rates continue to decline. But old school alts probably won't make the shift to RS3. I mean, old school players won't make the shift to RS3 because it's a lot of learning for them.
maybe you can teach me how to play RS3.
If anyone who's interested in learning how to play RS3, I can give you all the pro tips. Just PM me. My rune's getting into anything bar.
And ask for his credit card number.
Why?
To fund to wall, of course. To buy the bot.
Andrew Riggins
but-
IRL.
No,
Another example of reputation, but continue.
No, there are old skate methods. I feel like, sorry, let me start over again. I feel like as RS3 develops more than old school does, there will be more old skate methods that are good in RS3. So top old school players who are looking to diversify their means to getting 200 them all may well be better off learning how to play RS3 so they can old skate it if it becomes worthwhile. I don't think they're going to bother though because learning to play RS3 is more difficult than learning to play old school. Yep. Moving on from Altscape and its associated controversy. Next question is, what are some valuable lessons or skills that RuneScape has taught you, if any?
I feel like this question's been asked on like every podcast ever, but basically, I guess like the main thing that comes to mind is like I shave and brush my teeth in the shower to try to be like as efficient as I can. I guess you could see that as 0 time shaving and 0 time teeth brushing, but still, I tend to do that. I guess valuable lessons. It kind of like motivates me to be as efficient as I possibly can, so then I can get home and play RuneScape again. In terms of lessons, I don't really. I guess it just all the lessons from RuneScape pretty much involve like efficiency and doing a task in the most optimal way to reach the end goal, basically. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I've learned how to make money, so that's not really saying much since I'm only training Hunter right now.
Yeah, actually, it's helped me with a lot of things. Like, first off, it has enhanced my endurance, both in game and outside of the game. It's definitely enhanced my patience by a lot. It's actually helped me a lot for like long-term planning. So like if I'm going on like a vacation or I'm planning like, I don't know, something school related, like a project, it's definitely like enhanced my planning skills. It's also enhanced my multitasking ability because RuneScape is pretty multitaskable game. It's enhanced my social skills from just being in TS a lot. It's enhanced my appreciation for music because like I always listen to music when I play, and that was never really a thing for me before I played RS. And it's also enhanced my appreciation for like optimization. So like just like doing like every like day-to-day tasks for like work and school or just like around the house, like trying to like find out how to do it in the fastest way possible, stuff like that.
For me, the biggest thing RS taught me was patience. It also taught me like spend money in like a better way. Don't spend it all on one thing, even though that sounds silly. It's also taught me like trust certain people, not other people, because things can happen with certain people. Those are like the top 3 things it's taught me.
Yeah, a lot of what AJ said. I also feel like it has really learned me the power of routines. How if you establish routines in order to reach goal, like you want to work on the goal this many hours every single day, and such, you can achieve so many different goals. It's very powerful. And I also learned how um, a lot of skilling, like skill. I guess you could say skill in skilling. A lot of it comes down to muscle memory, and I've learned to apply that to other games too. That a lot of it's just about discipline, practice, and muscle memory, and then you can get good at a lot of different video games in particular. Um, I don't really feel like it has improved my social skills that much though. Probably because traditionally I haven't really been talking that much to people on Skype or TeamSpeak that often. It's really only in 2015 where I began doing it on a kind of regular basis, although I still take some long breaks from it. I feel like I learned a lot of things in general as well, like people said before, like patience. I really think I can stick more to a goal now and achieve it eventually. I'm sure there's plenty of other things that I can't come up with right now, but yeah, it's I definitely think RuneScape has been a very useful learning tool for me, and especially after I got 1 XP, really motivated me to work hard with school and stuff like that, and I was able to improve with school extremely fast after 1 XP because I was like really happy with myself. And yeah.
Like some other people have mentioned, I feel a skill you learn very well from RuneScape is the ability to set a goal and then to slowly work towards a goal in a defined number of steps. So a way that you can apply this to real life is, let's say you've got an assignment to do, or you've got a long-term goal like finishing a degree or getting a job or whatever. You can use some of the skills you've learned from RuneScape to strategize how you're going to do that, and you'll have the patience to achieve it because so much of RuneScape requires patience and dedication to achieving. So I feel RuneScape teaches the value of work ethic very well as a game because the most disciplined player who can play efficiently will generally succeed, and that's obviously a skill relevant to real life as well because having real life discipline also helps.
Yeah, I really like situations answer that he gave. Like the idea of like it really giving you a lot of patience when doing things IRL. Like because with RuneScape you're doing extremely repetitive activities. So like when you do more varied tasks IRL, it doesn't seem as difficult. And also the idea of people skills. Like with RuneScape, there's so many different kinds of people that you'll meet, and it might help you IRL when conversing with people. So yeah.
I feel like if I didn't like talk on TS at all, I'd be like losing my English at this point because I don't even really use it outside of talking on TS and like maybe a little bit with my family. Like kind of essential for me almost.
I think another overlooked aspect of RuneScape is exposure to other people, other cultures. Because it's online, you meet a lot of different people who you may never meet in person, and you can learn cultural tolerance and understanding that you may not get in a comparable situation in real life. So that's another important aspect of RuneScape in my opinion. Just the range of people you meet. both positive and negative.
Yeah,
I
true.
also-
Although you don't directly from RuneScape. I don't really feel like I directly learn to communicate that well. I kind of have to learn that in real life, but it is true that you do meet a lot of different people, I guess you could say, in RuneScape, because there's so many different kinds of people that play RuneScape just because it applies to such a big part of the population, I guess you could say. So it's definitely that. It's quite interesting that you can learn a lot about psychology and how people are like and the variety and things like that.
Yeah,
In
I
practice,
actually
way
really
more.
Sorry.
Go on, Brad.
I was just saying, I really like Vessel, your idea, your thought process of RuneScape teaches a lot about like routine. I think that's extremely important for IRL, especially like when you get into like the workforce and going to school and such like that. It's just like with RuneScape, you're just doing this. You're logging in every single day and doing the same exact repetitive activity, unless you're a skill hopper like trance music. So it really helps develop like a consistent routine, a consistent sleeping schedule, to where it just like helps a lot in terms of IRL situations.
However, I think it's worth stressing that these skills, they're not entirely exclusive to RuneScape. You can learn them elsewhere. It's just we learn them through RuneScape because it's the medium that we use. You can learn discipline and patience through other pursuits. It's just RuneScape is the way we do it because we all play, and those skills are required to succeed at RuneScape.
Yeah,
It's also-
RuneScape is a very different game than other games, though. There's not that many games that are like based on like long-term achievements. Usually, I mean, there's usually some goals you work up to over longer periods, but it's not the same type of like mental challenges you can find in skilling.
It's also worth noting, in my opinion, I feel like RuneScape, I mean, while there is some positives, there is some negatives in the fact that, like, I feel like if I didn't have RuneScape, I would have been a so much more social person. Like, I would have been a lot more extroverted rather than introverted. And I feel like I would have, I don't know, I feel like I could have been, like, a rocket scientist or something if I didn't play RuneScape. I don't know, that's probably false, but, like, my grinding nature, being able to, like, do, like, a certain task over and over again until I learn it, until I, like, reach a certain goal. Like I'm a very determined person, so I feel like I could have accomplished a lot more if it wasn't for RuneScape, to be honest. So it's a negative perspective to look at.
It's also worth noting that RuneScape, at least when you're skilling RuneScape, it promotes the ethic that it does. As long as you keep logging in and playing, you're always going to progress. So it encourages. Actually, it's a mentality where even if you only try a little bit, you're still making some progress, which I'd argue is positive. So it's any effort counts, which is in RuneScape, and you could say the same is true in real life. As long as you're trying, you will eventually get somewhere.
Yeah, but it's kind of different with IRL because you could kind of like lose progress IRL in terms of like money and such. Well,
You
like,
can
I guess
lose
in
progress in RuneScape. The
if
RuneScape
you're playing Zen Man
equivalent.
mode or you're a skater, then yeah, but for the most part, you're not really losing progress.
But that's one way of looking at it. You don't lose progress in RuneScape generally, and I feel like in real life you are less likely. You're not always going to lose progress. You'll generally make progress. I mean, there are those real life RNG factors like university application, work application, and just random events outside your control that we don't really have in RuneScape. But I think RuneScape does provide adequate preparation, but it doesn't account for some of those nuances, like the random element of real life.
If we had random events still in the game, it might affect it more. I don't know.
Do you really think you will be like a rocket scientist or something like really?
I have like
I get high
not
on
to
the.
be an arrogant
Sorry,
elitist, but
don't
I have
care.
like I've like played 15,000 hours in skilling in RuneScape. That 15,000 hours could have been put to like so much more like progressive things IRL. Like I could have been.
It wouldn't have been though, but you play RuneScape for recreation, therefore you can't say that you can't say you would have put those 15,000 hours into academics or work because you wouldn't have. You play RuneScape for recreation, therefore
Yeah,
those
that's
hours
true.
would have been put into another recreational pursue
But
another
don't you think I
game.
might have been more passionate about something if I didn't play? Because
Brad,
I mean,
you
to
could-
be honest,
Maybe.
it's very
Brad, you
RuneScape
could-
is very addicting. So I feel
Brad,
like
you could use that time to talk to a girl.
yeah, okay, Dreamscape, thank you.
Mainstream.
Yeah, you can't talk to girls, that's not bad. Maybe you would have been able to do that if you didn't play RuneScape, but I don't
Dude,
think you will
talking
be
to
able
girls
to try this.
talking to girls is too mentally challenging for me. I honestly don't think I'm capable of achieving the goal of talking to a female. I don't meet the prerequisite. There's too many variables involved with talking to women, but
Physically challenging for me.
yeah. Yeah, I'm a skinny twig, so it's kind of hard to compete with these guys that are working out like 30 times a week.
I'm sure if you approach it with the same dedication that you do skilling, you would succeed.
Yeah. See, with RuneScape, I just want to mention, with RuneScape, I have like an obsessive mindset. So like, I feel like if I turn that obsessive mindset towards something like being a rocket scientist, I could set myself a goal of doing it. So yeah.
I think RuneScape does provide valuable lessons to people who play it intensely, although of course there are downsides, as although people may learn lessons, they may suffer for playing so much. Like, they'll compromise on aspects of real life that they probably shouldn't and such.
Yeah, like the social aspect, for example.
Exactly.
But I still feel like I'm not like socially handicapped or anything just because I didn't socialize that much for a few years. Like, it didn't really damage that much. We definitely didn't improve either. So yeah, like you said, there's
Vestal, I think RuneScape has made you to be an elitist person. I feel like if you didn't have RuneScape, you wouldn't be as elitist, and you wouldn't say
no,
to
but
everyone that you're
I'm
good
not
at
an
everything.
elitist.
Yes, you are.
No,
Oh my god.
what do you mean
So-
especially bad?
I don't know. I think we should go to the next question though, because we've been rambling.
I think so too.
Okay, whatever.
I've had quite enough of the arguing. But anyways, next question is, in your opinion, does the use of alts devalue non-buyable achievements?
No, this is a question asked by Harm to me, or VR the other day to me. I think it's one of the most like controversial questions that I've honestly ever been asked. It's very interesting because in the short term, it could be seen as a better achievement because it makes it more click intensive. However, in the long term, it shows that you don't value the buyables and that you don't have any morals when it comes to like 0 time GP, so you don't really care if skills get devalued in a sense. So it honestly really depends on the situation. Like overall, I'd probably value the player who didn't use an alt more, but in the short term, I would
User
definitely
in
value
your channel
the intensity.
timed out.
Oh.
Dreamscape.
User joined your
I
channel.
am so sorry.
Oh my god,
My
it
computer
fixed it!
just
It
crashed.
fixed it! Oh my god, there is a god. Okay, continue.
Anyways, it's your turn, Dreamscape. Go on.
Yeah, I know. It's just my computer just crashed. What was the question again?
The question was, does the use of alts devalue non-buyable achievements? In your opinion?
Well, what would be the point of using an alt for non-viables?
No,
Just
we're
having
saying
fun,
for
I
like the
guess?
future sense.
Oh, for future.
Yeah, for future.
Well, it doesn't devalue those achievements, but it does devalue future achievements.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, okay, sure, like, using, like, a player who's doing a non-viable who's using an alt, like, it can devalue the player, but I don't think it devalues the achievement at all, for actually, like, 2 reasons. One, you're not even paying for, like, if you're doing mining, you're not paying for anything with an alt unless you're
Flooring
paying
stone.
for your astral runes, but, if you're using an alt to, like, make it more click intensive for you, like, I don't believe, like, making some more click intensive is more, challenging, or more, mentally challenging long term, by the way, but I believe that if you're using an alt, like, the reason why I would use an alt is just to multitask, and, yeah, I would just multitask with anything else anyway, besides an alt, so it wouldn't affect me at all, but it definitely would affect my value of a player, but not their achievement. Their achievement isn't affected.
I don't think the use of an alt would devalue any non-buyable. Like Seiji said, you're doing mining. someone uses an alt to make money, you still put in all the hours for that mining. Would playing an alt didn't benefit you while you were mining? You still put in all the time and the effort.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the situation here. Yeah,
Finn?
Vessels was rather short on that. Anyways, I will say that the use of an alt does not devalue non-viable achievements because, as Situation stated, you are still putting in all the hours and the effort into that achievement. It just devalues the overall achievement. Well, some people would say it devalues the overall achievement because they believe that using an alt is worse than not using an alt. So, I don't believe it devalues the specific non-viable achievements, though. But moving on.
it seems
sorry,
like
go on.
everyone kind of agrees. Like, it seems like it just kind of formulated our stances differently, but it was kind of the same essence, I feel.
Yeah.
I think we can agree about it. Moving on, our next question is, what other skilling pets would you like to see added to Old School?
I was talking to someone in the TS earlier. I don't remember who it was. It might have been someone in this TS right now, but I'd really like to see like a Firebird, like the Entrana Firebird as a fire making pet. I think that would be really cool. Like it'd also be kind of interesting to see like a wooden chair following you, like in the Draenor Manor. Other than that, I don't really know, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's my answer.
I think it would be cool to see a cooking pet. I think it should be the Swedish Chef from
I'd
the
rather see.
Muppets.
I'd rather, instead of them adding more pets, I'd rather just see them all gone because
Yeah.
I find that like the pets is just kind of devalues post 99 achievements because it makes it the incentive makes it mentally easier for players of getting a pet. So I'd just rather not see them in the game.
I'd like to see a farming pet that you get by like picking herbs or something like that. That'd be different.
Would it be like a walking watering can, or what do you imagine?
I don't even know I have no idea. What if it was like a little flower pot? Something random. I don't know what it would be, but I think
you
of
should like have like a plant following you, and like it grows over time, like a giant magic tree following you or something.
What if it's like the strange plant random event, something like that?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
It's walking behind you.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I find pets a bit cringe, but at the same time, I'm kind of a bit excited to see if or see when I'm gonna get the fishing pet. Although I don't think it looks that sexy to be honest, just like a black and white bird. Like it's not really that interesting, and I definitely don't think they should add pets to Bibles because yeah, they kind of work
No, dude, you know what they should do?
advantages.
I have an ingenious idea. Like they should make a Bible pet, and it's just like Randalicious following you.
Okay. Yeah, if like, but which specific Bible would that be? It would just be all Bibles then, since Randy have all the Bibles. So.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
for construction, you could have Bob the Builder following you around.
Andrew Wiggins following you around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a thieving skill pet. I would, although preferably before I was 200 mil, like a scarab or mummy from Pyramid Plunder. I think that would be really interesting. And currently, nobody does plunder because RD Knights are the new meta for many people. So it would give players perhaps more reasons to do plunder if it was sufficiently rare. So that would be kind of cool. Other than that, I really wish there was another pet I could get from Slayer that wasn't from a boss task, because the only one that you can get slaying efficiently is a jab pet, and I already have that. So now there are no other pets I can aspire to, unfortunately. So a generic Slayer pet would be nice, if it could be obtained through efficient means rather than doing boss tasks. But that's just my bias.
I think that Slayer pet could just Blood Veld following you.
Oh, well, good idea. I don't remember who suggested it with me, but I think that rather than skilling pets being RNG, I think it should be like you get like 50 mil fishing XP and then you get the fishing pet rather than just being completely random. So like someone with level 60 fishing can get the pet, or someone with 60 mil fishing.
Well, that's
will
kind of
not
how
have
like
the
the
pet just
mechanics
because
of
they're unlucky.
that's kind of how the mechanics of pets work. They're kind of like an RNG kind of a thing where you
Yeah,
get
I
it
don't
randomly
think-
during a certain event.
I don't think they should be like that, especially with skilling. It makes a lot more sense if you get rewarded for having a pet if they are like low XP, like 50 mil for example.
Yeah.
I think it would
Well,
be a
I
lot
believe you
cooler.
do need post 99 XP, like generally speaking, to get it. Like you'd be really lucky to get it if you got it before 13 mil, but yeah.
Yeah, but plenty of people have gotten it before 13 mil. Even
Yeah.
I have seen it.
Well, I suppose we'll find out. I know skilling pets are popular, so
Well, pets in general
Pets-
are really popular.
yeah,
too.
Petscape is something the community like, and Jagix is quite happy to do it. Andrew Wiggins said normal slay pets, but they are rare, like 1 in 300k kills. I would like that, although 1 in 300k would be absurd.
I think it
because,
should depend on what monster, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if it was like 1 in 60k or more, because that would require tens of millions of Slayer experience to get without camping. So,
Like for Dark Beast and Abyssal Demon, it should be like 1 in 300k or whatever, right? Or something, or
Do
maybe,
you realize-
maybe max the cap. I don't know.
300k Abyssal Demons, bro. Do you have any idea how long that would take for Slayer experience? That's more than 200 more Slayer.
Oh.
300k Abyssal
Well, I
Demons.
don't, dude. I'm
But-
level 9 Slayer from the freaking museum. I don't know what's going on, man.
Oh,
What if
don't
you could
comment
only
on
get
the
that-
Slayer.
Wouldn't it be no? Okay, wouldn't it be as rare as like a clue, like an elite clue scroll or like a third age cloak or something at that point? I think
What
that's
if
would
you could
be-
only get the pets inside niche so that there's no way you can get it outside of an assignment?
Or they can make it so you can only get it on
Well,
task.
See, people
That'll be
often
okay.
complain. People often complain in the community how you see too many of this pet. I feel like it should be extremely rare, especially with Slayer being the most popular skill. I feel like it should be like 1 in 100 or 200k or something like that.
I would rather not have it be so rare that you wouldn't expect to get
And
more than 2.
imagine, Finn, imagine if it was that rare, you could just camp like the abyssal monster, the abyssal thingies in the Slayer tower.
I
So
don't
you
know
got
what
it. Or can you only get it on tap?
Brad, just to put this into perspective for you, because I think you're not realizing,
Okay.
300k Abyssal Demons is 180 million melee XP.
Okay. So
Process that for a second.
it should be-
180 million combat XP. For a 62.3% chance of getting the pet at least once.
I'm good with
yeah, it
having
should be that rare.
But
Okay.
Brad, I don't know.
Well, you're laughing, but why should it be more common? Like, why? Because people like to play old school for the combat. So, like, I feel
It
like
should be realistic to obtain it.
Imagine if someone got a freaking combat pet, like a nightmare, like doing Guffins or something in Nightmares. But anyway, yeah. I guess there's a lot of there's probably more bots with pets at the moment than actual players. But yeah,
Brad, I have a way better idea than you.
go.
I don't know how popular it will be for PVMers, but I think it will make more sense if you have like 20k Abyssal Demon kills, for example. You will get like an Abyssal Demon pet, like it will be based on a kill count ratio rather than RNG. Because you can already, I know they already can track how many bosses you are killed and such, so that the reward of getting a pet based on kill count would make more sense to me. I guess I just really don't like the RNG aspect of the game in general.
Typical skiller.
Hmm?
Not liking RNG.
Yeah.
I kind of like
What's
RNG.
your
to be honest.
thoughts, Limbo?
No, I agree. I don't like RNG either.
I think RNG like spices up the like RuneScape. If it was all like if for example if you completed 1,000 hard clues, you were 100% guaranteed to get an elite, or you're 100% guaranteed to get like an elite third HPs or something like that. I think it would make it so much more boring. I like when there's randomness within the game. It makes it more exciting in my opinion, rather than just static.
I also like randomness.
Yeah, randomness. Although nothing is really truly random, I guess. But yeah, some things.
How is it that exciting exactly? Like, It just seems like a very superficial
I
way
guess
to
I'm
get
someone
Because
who
you
exactly.
gets
never know what you're
excited.
gonna get.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you're not gonna know, but why is this so, what's so cool about it? I don't really see it.
Dude, I would be one of those people that would scream like a little girl if I got like a heron pet or something while fishing. I don't know. It'd just be exciting. Like if I knew that it was coming, I'd be like, oh, it's whatever. It's gonna come anyway.
Or is it bad?
Alright. You wanna go to the next topic, Finn?
I would like to go to the next question because I want to hear the responses. It is, do you consider yourself to be elitist?
I just want to start off by saying Vessel isn't elitist, and whatever he said, like this video is probably going to be disliked because Vessel doesn't think he's an elitist. He is literally probably one of the most elitist people in the high
crap, this
school
is about
community.
you.
What?
Yes, this is about me. I just want to clarify that before he answers.
No. Bad?
Okay, Vessel, be quiet, please. All right, so do I consider myself an elitist? Vessel, can you please be quiet?
Go on, Brad.
Okay, I do consider myself an elitist because I tend to care, or I tend to basically compare myself to other RuneScape players and evaluate my achievements compared to theirs, and I don't like I guess like it just comes with being in the high level skilling community. Unless you're like completely like out of the skilling community, like basically like Link's Titan. I honestly don't know if I would consider Link's Titan an elitist player because he doesn't involve himself with any other RuneScape player. I guess that would be kind of seen as like elitist, but he doesn't, I guess, hate on any other RuneScape players. He's just kind of sticking to himself. But yeah, I consider myself an elitist RuneScape player just because I evaluate achievements and sometimes I could make things, or I could say things that could suggest that I am better than another player.
Good.
I guess I could say I'm an elitist just because I involve myself with the high-level skilling community.
I'm not an elitist.
I would say that I'm better than the average player, and but like, I wouldn't let that get in the way of like interacting with them. Like, I always like if some random person like went up to me while I was mine and said hi, like, and wanted to like have a conversation or something, like I'd still like talk to them and like waste XP typing them. Like that wouldn't bother me. I evaluate players / criticize them, but I always try to like find something good within each player. So like I don't know if I exactly fall into the criteria of being elitist or not. I don't know.
I think I fall into the group of like elitists because I love doing all the best ways, and if people are doing a slower way, I try and convince them to do the faster way and be like, not as good, do this way, and keep telling them to do it like that. But if people don't, I mean, I don't care. That's their fault. But and speaking to lower level wise, I usually add every Iron Man I see, and then if they ever ask questions, I always like reply to them the best answer I can, and always help them. That's where I put myself.
Let me ask you one question first, Brad. Do you think AJ is an elitist?
Yeah, I would consider him an elitist person, yes.
In what way?
Because he evaluates players and he criticizes players for doing, or maybe he doesn't criticize individual players, but he criticizes a group of players for doing a certain method or having a certain mindset.
Yeah, I'll agree that I do that. I try to like keep my opinions with other people to myself, so it's not like at least the negative ones.
I mean, even thinking of it like could be elitist because you're kind of having the mindset of it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to. By the way, I'm not trying to offend you if you get offended.
No, you're right.
I'm
You're
just
right.
saying.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right.
But anyway, Vessel.
Okay, so who am I criticizing then exactly? I guess I'm criticizing graduations and such, but I have still plenty of friends in Hexes, for example. So it's not like I hate the entire clan or something like that. So who do I criticize exactly that makes me the most elitist person in the world?
Everybody, literally I have never seen a RuneScape player that you haven't criticized. Like there's no one that you haven't hated on. You literally hate on Drumgun. You hate on Suomi, which are arguably the greatest RuneScape players of all time. You hate on me. You hate on Mini Finbar. You hate on, Randy. Everyone hates on Randy. Of course you should. But I'm just saying, you literally you hate on all these like great RuneScape players and they've achieved amazing things, and you just devalue their entire accounts based off small things.
Okay, but there's a difference between hating on them and pointing out flaws. There are flaws with every single
flaws
player in
because
the game.
you're basically
Nobody's
you're comparing yourself to them by saying that they
No.
have flaws, and you're essentially saying that I'm perfect because I don't do these things.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard Vespa say
No,
that.
but I mean, just because I criticize like people like analysts who are doing like way too many Bibles and stuff. I also do Bibles as well, so it's not like I'm completely out of it. I'm just not as bad as some of the players I'm criticizing. I definitely think like Junglen has better morals than me. I just think there's like some flaws with his playing style. Just as like way 8King way too much. I'm not really big a fan of the inefficiency. I'm just pointing out some flaws he has. I'm not saying that makes him like
I'm just like
anything
pointing
like
out
that.
flaws. I feel like is one of the big things in an elitist because you're basically
Would you consider-
you're judging other people based off what they're doing. I would classify that as an elitist thing, basically.
Vespa, would you consider yourself elitist or not?
No, definitely not.
That's such.
I can talk to anyone.
So
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, Finbar.
Enough.
Sorry.
I
I
consider
can talk to
myself.
anyone. Like I mean like I have my private on a lot of the time, and if there's someone nice that PM me like something nice, or just like a random question or something like that, I don't even care what the stats are. I just answer them, and what I care the most about is their personality or how nice they are. That's what I value, rather than the stats like many other top players do. Okay, go on.
I don't consider myself to be particularly elitist, but I will. If I see somebody doing a method that's not the most efficient, I will try and encourage them to do the most efficient method. And if I see top players doing methods that I think are very inefficient, I will think less of them as a competitive player for doing that. But I'm not elitist to the extent that I will go out of my way to hate on specific players to their face because I don't think they play efficiently or I don't agree with how they play. I obviously have a moral code and I apply that to how I view other players, but I wouldn't see it as inherently elitist. It's just more of a way of viewing people. So, somewhat, maybe a little elitist, but not as bad as some top players.
I feel.
Which top players are you worse? I mean, are you better when it comes to elitism?
So, what's that?
Which players are you better when it comes to elitism? Like, I mean, less elitist.
I don't think I'm as elitist as you are.
I definitely are. Like, I don't, people that are watching this podcast haven't heard some of the things I said in TeamSpeak and such, but apparently that you are extremely elitist.
Vestful literally is writing a rap right now, hating on Randy as a player, and he's stating that he is not an elitist. But anyway.
Well, that must
Enough
be some
about
fun.
elitism. I think I'm going to skip straight to the next question, which is, what do you do on the side while you play RuneScape?
Well, actually, as of recently, I've been playing a lot of chess with Mini Finbar here. Other than that, I honestly don't really do much. I mainly try to focus on my skilling in general. Like on the side, I usually pretty much purely listen to music. Sometimes I like browse the Solace forums and look at like RuneScape screenshots and such like that. But like I don't really play any other games on the side. I generally try to focus on my RuneScape.
I pretty much just browse YouTube videos, the people I'm subscribed to, and I go on Twitter and Reddit. I mostly listen to music though.
I listen to majority of the time. I just listen to music. Sometimes I'll be in TS. When I was doing Hunter, I'd like do my little mine on alt, just to like make time go by faster. Sometimes I'll play Sudoku on the side while I play, or I'll just watch random stuff on YouTube a lot. Like one of those things usually is what I do.
I like to watch TV shows online, YouTube, music, play like Clash of Clans or something. Also browse Reddit or just use TeamSpeak.
Okay. For me, sometimes it depends a little bit on my mood and also the skill I'm doing. If I do a guilty, I tend to do a lot of. I tend to watch a lot of anime with subtitles. Just because it's very easy to focus while watching anime. Like I can watch anime while doing stuff like critic fishing, but it's just over term it's not really that realistic because it's like very exhausting. It's not as easy paying attention all the time, especially if I'm getting like PM'd or something like that while I'm watching it. But I just I like watching a lot of TV series right now. I really like music, like trance music or nightcore, or especially in the past I really like classical music, Japanese classical music, and European as well. I'm really addicted to YouTube. There are a lot of people subscribe to. Also like following the news sometimes and things like that. I don't really watch that many streams. Like usually just of other games of RuneScape, I don't really find RuneScape streams that interesting. I usually watch a lot of streams with Super Smash Bros. Melee when there's a really nice tournament or a high level tournament, I guess you could say. I really like watching Pokemon speedruns as well. And yeah, that's most of. That's mostly what I'm occupied with. So yeah.
If I don't have anything to do, I will usually watch shows, hang out on TS, or play my other RuneScape accounts, because I play RuneScape 3 and Darkscape while playing Old School, so I do focus quite a lot on RuneScape. But I enjoy watching stuff from time to time and browsing internet. I have also recently been playing chess, like primarily against Brad, but I have branched out slightly because it gets a little boring after a while.
Okay, Finn.
No, it's enjoyable though, and I want to get more people in the CC involved because it's entertaining. But no, I do the usual stuff that everyone else does: listen to music, watch shows, etc. I couldn't imagine not doing anything else though while playing RuneScape. But anyways,
Multitasking ruins the old school feel.
No, it doesn't. I even disagree with that. How does it ruin the old school feel?
I mean, just like back in the day, back in like actual 2007, like most people didn't really do that. I don't think.
I feel like because their computers couldn't handle it.
Yeah, like I mean, like people just like sat there and clicked. Like
So you're saying it
that was
ruins
old school.
like the actual 2007 feel then?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, who cares? We don't live in the past, do we?
Nah, it was.
Moving on though, our next question is: do you think that having real life responsibilities increases the value of your achievements on RS as opposed to someone who doesn't?
Honestly, it's all circumstantial. It really depends on if you're good at like balancing IRL and RuneScape. Basically, I've actually found that like playing purely RuneScape, like if you want to like take fully advantage of RuneScape, it's actually a lot more difficult to purely play RuneScape because I guess you don't have that mental break of being able to just do something else. Like, well, like if you were to hypothetically do like agility for like 18 hours a day, every single day, there's no variation in that. There's nothing really sort of exciting going on in your life. While with sort of work, you're kind of I guess you it's just like a mental break. It's just a lot more because you like when you're at work, for example, you could like talk to your friends, you could do a lot more stuff that could be more exciting than RuneScape. So I feel like having IRL responsibilities I feel like it decreases it makes the achievement easier to manage long term, in my opinion, because I've seen a lot of players that have unlimited free time. They just end up burning out because they get bored of the game a lot quicker than someone who has work in school.
Yeah, I found it fun to balance work with the game. For myself,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine just purely playing RS like I don't know 20 hours a day. That would seem insane to me. So I guess my answer would be no.
Yeah, I believe that obligations makes it easier on you, just because more distractions just make life more easier, I guess. Like just playing RuneScape would be a little more depressing, I guess. You had nothing to do at all besides playing RuneScape. But it's kind of unfair because like it's like not everyone can be put into. Not everyone can just choose a position that they want to be in. So it's like it's almost kind of unfair to judge someone's achievement because they had obligations.
I agree with exactly what Brad said because my job, I have like 2 shifts of it. It's like split. So I can play like in the morning, go to work for a few hours, come back, play a little in the afternoon, go back for part of the evening, and just meaning it's a lot easier for me to play that way. Because when I have all the time in the world to play, I usually just end up sleeping more to play because I don't know, it's a lot more boring just playing all day compared to splitting it up.
It's
And
kind of something. What?
I was just gonna say I don't see having real life obligations like making it better of an achievement.
Okay. For me, it's kind of something you have to get used to because most people are used to just balancing school and RuneScape, so obviously that's gonna be the easiest for them since they're most used to it. And someone that's used to not having school or work, I mean that's obviously a minority of the population, so most people are not gonna be the most used to that. If you're someone like Link's Titan, probably better to not balancing it because they're really only focused on RuneScape, but most people like having some kind of balance in my life, even including myself. So I find it a lot easier to, like for example, play RuneScape 13 hours and then go to school for 3 hours rather than uh, rather than just playing RuneScape for like 16 hours. I find it a lot easier to balance those two things because there's more variety and that makes it so there's a bit less chance of burning out from your routine. So pretty much the more balanced it is, the easier it is, I find. Yeah.
I don't really consider them. I think having real life responsibilities makes it a little easier because it's more sustainable to play RuneScape for many years while balancing real life as opposed to not having real life responsibilities because most people can't play RuneScape long term without having to eventually do something in real life. So the way I view it is that if you are balancing RuneScape with real life, you're more likely to be a successful long-term player than somebody who's just playing RuneScape all day every day and that's the only thing they're doing. Very few players have achieved 200 all while only focusing on RuneScape. The only 2 who appear to come to mind are Link's Titan and Suomi. Everybody else, as far as I know, had
Drumgun.
real life. Oh, yeah, Drumgun has.
He had a job.
He had a
an
job or
online
some kind of work.
But I guess,
So-
but also the on the side of it with AFK stuff though. But yeah.
I still consider it a responsibility.
Yeah, I guess.
So, as far as I know, everybody else did some kind of real life obligation while playing RuneScape. So I feel like it makes you you're more likely to be a successful long-term player because it's more sustainable and it's maybe a bit easier because you have distraction in a positive way.
I think most people agree with that, but it's also quite individual because some people can be used to, or maybe they prefer the less variety within the lifestyle. Because everyone is different, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, the general trend is that it's easier to balance it, more distractions. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember who said. I think it was AJ. I feel like it's very like depressing when you just have RuneScape in your life. To be honest, because I've had that for like a good like 6 months at one point. It was just really depressing, like because I don't really have any IRL friends either. So it was just kind of. It just kind of I just felt like really lonely just playing RuneScape all day. And this is when I didn't talk in TeamSpeak or Skype or anything. So it just felt very. It just felt a lot more difficult to play all day long.
Our next question is in regards to potential upcoming update. How do you feel about the Soul and Blood Altar updates coming with Zaya?
Personally, like I'm one to care extremely about the integrity of the game. I hate devaluation and skills, but I actually don't really have that much of a problem with Soul and Blood rune crafting because, for one, it does not increase the GP per hour made, nor does it increase the XP per hour of rune crafting. So I actually don't really have a problem with it. I guess the only people it would affect are the people that are solo rune crafting for Nats, but even then, the people wouldn't do that all the way to 200 mil just because rune crafting soul runes all the way to 200 mil would not profit you the amount of the GP needed to fund 200 mil. So I guess I like how they're introducing like a new way of rune crafting in like Dark Essence or whatever. Like how you have to go to the Dark Essence altar and then go to the Soul/Blood altar. I think that could be an interesting way. And I mean, I also like how they mentioned in the devlog that it's going to be an intensive method. So they're not going to make rune crafting AFK or anything like that. So yeah.
Well, that's one method that I would do in the future. I'm also just more interested in the spell book that's going to come out with Zaya.
Yeah, I actually think that they're going to make the method pretty interesting because they said that that the majority of the runecrafting XP gain is actually from from creating the Dark S. So you're actually not creating as many soul runes as you'd think you would. So the GP per hour wouldn't be too high, but you're still getting pretty half decent XP per hour. So it would definitely be attractive to the majority of the player base, I guess. For those who don't want to do lavas. Personally, I guess I'd rather just do nature runes though.
This would make a big change for Iron Men. It could shave off like a few hundred hours just off maxing alone. Because if you're running to the Dark Altar to making soul runes, essence per hour, so that XP per essence could go up big time. So like, it could devalue like the 3 people who have 99 RC at the moment. And just like do a few thousand less overkills just for 99 RC. Because Bloods and those would be a lot more XP per essence than 10.5.
Okay, well, there's a lot of speculation going into this, obviously, because the update hasn't come out yet, and we don't know what the GP now is, so even if there is possible to get more XP per hour than Jagex claims. But I think it sounds very interesting. Like, if it's a very fun method, then I will definitely look into it and maybe go for tournament rune crafting earlier than I thought I would. Those seem like it could be interesting, and I'm sure the GP hour won't be that high, but if it's like 800k an hour or something, then I think that will be like really good. Yeah, we'll just see what happens, I guess. But the main thing that will decide if I'm gonna do rune crafting long term or not is just if it's a fun method, pretty much. Because I can make money through other ways, anyways. Other methods.
I think it's going to be a positive update to the runecrafting metagame because it's not changing the fastest XP per hour, and it's extremely unlikely that it's going to change the most money per hour. I'm still expecting natures to be the rune of choice for people who want to maximize profit, and lavas to be the rune of choice for people who want to maximize experience. So I feel like with the rates provided, the Soul and Blood altar will fit very well into the game. I'm actually quite impressed with how Jagex has balanced it. I mean, the initial rates were kind of off, but the revised rates are much more fair.
What about blood runes though? People haven't really said anything about blood runes, only soul runes.
I know less about blood runes, the rate, what they're going to be, how much they're going to be and such, so I
they're
don't
going to
really
be
know.
like 38k an hour XP.
Yeah, I think
that's what I
okay.
thought it was going to be.
Hopefully
They could
they'll
be an
balance
alternative to
hopefully-
Astrals, potentially.
Yeah, hopefully they'll balance it so Bloods are better GP per hour than Souls.
Yeah.
It would make more sense balancing wise anyway.
But it's also less, lower level required. So, like Finbar said, it might be like an option to lavas maybe, like if you want to make a
Double
bit more.
astrals is still 1 mil an hour. It would be more profit to do that than blood runes.
Yeah,
Almost
but
certainly,
I
yeah.
mean, blood runes are a lot faster XP per hour though. Like 10k XP per hour faster or something. That's significant.
Our next question is related to this. It's, which upcoming updates are you most excited for?
It's kind of like on an unrelated sort of note, but I'm actually really excited for Invention on RuneScape 3. Not because I'm going to train the skill, but I think it's going to be really insane to see the competition of high-ranked players competing for permanent rank 1 overall. You're going to have like 30 players with 200 all competing for it, and then all the other players trying to compete for it. So it's going to be the most intense competition ever. But in regards to old school, I'd probably say... I'm not sure. Like honestly, all the new like clans sound kind of interesting. Like combining like fishing with thieving, like the pirate sort of clan idea and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be really interesting seeing all of the new clans that are involved in Zaya. So I guess Zaya is the most exciting new update that I'm excited for.
I'm more excited about the Skillscape perks because I'd like to use my Maxscape for anything other than Passionscape. Honestly, I mean, it really looks good with my outfit that I'm currently wearing, but I would like to see it being useful.
I'm actually excited for any skill that will be coming out in the future, just because another skill just means more competition for potential rank 1. But other than that, I definitely am kind of excited for the Monkey Madness 2 quest, just because it'd be like the first quest they'll actually make, and be interested to see how they go about designing a quest.
I think the quest is a good update to look forward to as well. I love doing quests on the day of release with like a bunch of friends. I'm also looking forward to that rune crafting, Blood and Souls, to see how it is, because I did bank the S for 99, so that'd be a cool goal to go achieve.
Yeah, to me there's no competition. Like Seiya is definitely the coolest update that will come out in the game because there's like so many new scaling methods, so many event methods, and I'll probably try out most of them just because it seems like it will be a pretty nice time when it gets released because it will be like right after I get tournament fishing, and it just seems like a lot of cool potential, and I think I want to try out like pretty much every single scaling method, even though I know not all of them are gonna be the fastest XP per hour. Like actually none of them are, like Jay's claimed, but I still would like to try them out and just see if they're fun or something. I think it's gonna be interesting.
I'm most looking forward to the new quest. I very much enjoy questing, and it would be really fun to do a new old school quest that's going to be completely original. So I'm hoping that it lives up to my expectations and it is an enjoyable quest with lots of lore, puzzles, complex boss mechanics, that kind of thing. Just something memorable.
Typically, I'm not excited for any skill-related updates, because I don't really like skills getting faster. But
Well,
the quests and
it's not
stuff,
gonna
I'm
get
definitely...
faster though, AJ.
What?
If you didn't listen to what I said, like they're not, at least according to them, they're not gonna add the faster speed per hour methods.
It could
With
make
I mean,
it could make
in the
certain
future,
skills
like
more
in the
AFK.
far, like
Oh, in the
far
future,
future.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
but
guys have to consider
yeah.
that's 50% more landmass, so that's a shit ton of area. So they could, in theory, introduce like a level 95 rooftop course or something like that.
Like it's gonna
Oh.
devalue farming to an extent, because they're gonna have definitely add more tree patches, which would make farming XP a day higher.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, but I mean, it's still the same XP per hour, and farming is just easy as fuck. Who cares about farming?
Well, what I like about farming is that you have to do it consistently for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, but even if they add like 2 new spots, you still have to do it for all here.
It's still a difference.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't think there's a big difference though.
Not big, I guess.
How do you feel about the skilling cap?
Okay.
Just on that next question topic because
Yeah.
it's coming up in December, so it's soon.
Well, yeah, we will be competing in the Skilling Cup. How do I feel about it? Currently, the J mods basically aren't really considering like stored XP for the Skilling Cup. So someone like Lord Speed in Solace, he basically has over like 4 mil XP in Brimhaven tickets. So he like if one of the skills was agility, hypothetically, he could spend all the tickets at once and like win the Skilling Cup basically for the entire clan. So yeah, it supports because the Skilling Cup currently is XP gained in game and not in the skilling arena, and so players will be able to gain XP in very obscure ways that they wouldn't normally be able to in the skilling arena. So I think they should change it to be in the skilling arena because it's a lot more of a controlled environment, and it's not based off. And in the skilling arena, it's not based off XP gain; it's based off resources gained. So yeah.
Yeah, I wish there was an arena for the Skilling Cup, but other than that, I mean, it would sound interesting. I've never been in one, so I would like to see how it's like.
I actually don't really mind the idea of the like the way they have it set up now. I used to kind of, I was kind of salty about the no arena thing, mainly because I was biased because I already have I have tuner mill hunter, so I won't be able to compete in that. I guess like it was a little bit of bias, but I guess I can understand how this kind of makes it easier for as a whole clan because every single member can participate rather than just 5. But the one problem I do have with it is yeah, the stored XP thing. I'm not sure if they're going to take the measures necessary to make sure it doesn't affect the cup, but I'm not sure how they're going to do what they're going to do with that.
I don't have much of an opinion for it. I just like that they're having more people in your clan be able to do it than just a few.
Seeing as Festival seems to pass on the question, I'm looking forward to the Skilling Cup, and you didn't say anything.
What are we discussing now?
The Skilling Cup.
Skilling
Oh,
Cup.
Skilling Cup.
Do you think
Yeah,
about it?
Okay, no. So are they still gonna have the XP-based Skilling Cup, or are they gonna have
It's
like
XP based, yeah.
Yeah, and that can obviously be cheated with stored XP and such, so that's a very big problem out there. So if they don't fix that, I don't think I will even bother entering the Skilling Cup, since you know somebody is gonna cheat. It's bound to happen, basically. Although I guess my general feeling of the Skilling Cup, like, it's not too bad. Like I kind of like 1 hour records, although I guess group-based stuff is not really. I'm not really the biggest fan of group-based things. I like to prefer more individual, especially when I did 20, for example, at the Hexus Cup. I got the best hour, like 214k or something like that, but we still only averaged like 160k or something really bad, because the other people on my team were really shit and just broke
Yep,
me
see,
down.
and you're not elitist at all. You're not elitist whatsoever.
No, but it's true.
Yeah, see, classic elitism.
No, but that's the problem with teams. I really like focusing. The reason I like skidding so much is it's so focused on individuals, and you don't have to rely on groups and stuff like that. That's the main thing I love about RuneScape. It's actually very different from a lot of the games. A lot of other games are very group based. Yeah, now you can speak Finbar or whatever.
As everyone else has said, the only problem I have is stored XP may be used. I'm hoping Jarrett looks into that. I would have liked the arena just because then people with 200 mil XP could compete for the skills that they want to, but on the other hand, not having an arena means that the whole clan can compete, which I do like. It gets more members involved. So overall, if they fix stored XP, I will be excited for it, and I look forward to competing.
Yeah, it's actually one huge flaw that I didn't really discuss was like the idea of like you can't compete if you have 200 XP. That's so annoying. That
Yeah,
takes
rip
away
our
from
hunter
so many
team.
people. Yeah, really. Like Acid Soul can't do mining, for example. So
Oh,
yeah.
we would have totally won Hunter if that were the case. But
It would have
no,
been easier,
yeah,
yeah.
it would have been a lot easier.
You guys still got me though.
Yeah,
You're not 200 mil yet, so it's okay. But we
We're
have
proud.
4 people in Solace at 200 mil Hunter, so
Yeah.
It,
oh well. Actually, speaking of Hunter, our next question is: are there any times you choose to do a different method of training you enjoy more and sacrifice small amounts of efficiency? An example would be doing red chins instead of black chins.
This is like a prime Brad question coming in. Basically, well, I don't like to do the most macro efficient method. I like to do a method that is more, I guess, that I would value more as an achievement. And so, yeah, for example, like I did red chins at 200 mil hunter. Like I did a lot of watermelons and herbs for farming and for agility. I went all the way to 200 mil instead of waiting for fishing, for example. And at the moment, I'm doing Dorishkan agility. So there, pretty much in every single instance, I've always liked to do things in an efficient manner because one of the reasons I play RuneScape is for the sense of achievement. I like the idea of setting myself a long-term goal and then achieving it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing red chins right now, but it's at the cave, so it's 200 mil hunter won't be an achievement for me. Kappa.
Yeah, I guess like the main sacrifice I'd make is like doing nature runes for runecrafting instead of lavas because for one I enjoy the method of nature runes and I also enjoy making my own money on my own account.
Biggest thing for me that I can think of is I don't flick Slayer for Iron Man because I don't enjoy flicking it, so I'd rather just AFK Slay.
like I guess for me, there's a lot of overall efficiency things, like not doing fast skills before the slow skills. I don't know, FK Ignite and so on. I'm not really big a fan of using also on the making either. I guess if you gonna talk about the red chins, actually I did black chins to almost all of the hunter myself. But that was mainly because of the I really liked the money bonus on it. But the hunter would definitely have been a lot easier if I did red chins. Even though it's slow XP per hour, it's like so much easier and so much less frustrating. So I would definitely have a lot easier time doing that, especially if I had like my old spot where there were no bots, then I would do it with ease. Like maybe even ground it even better than I've been doing critic fishing. So that sounds really nice. In general, though, I like being very extremely like basically having very optimized XP rates in the skills I'm training. I just don't care that much about overall macro efficiency, I guess.
I'll start by saying I don't imbue, and I plan to barrage changeable magic, so that should give some insight into how I want to play. I will choose different methods of training if I find them more enjoyable, and I don't mind doing that. When I maxed, I did all the macro efficient methods. I did granite for mining, I did efficient fishing, woodcutting, etc. But for 200 mils, I'm more inclined to take an approach that I find easier to maintain. Like, I don't enjoy the action of imbuing, so I'd rather just grind magic through barraging at Apatol. Equally, I find manual prayer to be very tedious, so I will probably AFK most of it. I don't mind that loss of efficiency because it helps improve my consistency.
Did you imbue for max then?
No, I did superheating, which was the meta at the time. And by
Well,
the time I go on, that's what.
I'd like to say I'm generally a bit more focused on micro efficiency, which is like trying to be the most optimal on the specific methods you're doing, rather than just being like overall efficient, even when it comes to individual skills. I'm also like, even though me and Finbar we seem extremely different, I'm also kinda similar to him in the ways that I don't really want to do the methods that I don't enjoy for particular skills, even though they're efficient. Like I could have done splashing for magic, for example, or something like that. That would require no time, just as magic can do, and it would be less effort and all that. But since I enjoy magic in a lot more, I just rather do that instead. It deepens a lot of the gathering skills for me, so it makes a lot more sense to do magic that way, and also like multi skill and fetching and things like that as well. I don't always go the most optimal overall efficient route, so I do usually go the most optimal for the individual skills I want to focus on, I guess.
I think for lots of people it's about doing a method they can do consistently for long periods of time, rather than a method they can only do efficiently for a short period of time. Because you'll progress more with a consistent method.
But that also comes down to practice though, like if you're gonna do a method consistently for a long period of time, even TTK fishing, it all requires practice, and after practice for a long time, you will be able to do it consistently.
Yeah, but if somebody really hates free tick fishing, they may be better off just not doing it, because they wouldn't be able to achieve 200 more fishing if they had the free tick, whereas they would be able to achieve it if they 5-ticked.
Yeah, but most people that say they hate it, like Volini for example, they haven't really done it for very long periods of time.
Yeah, there is a conditioning period, but some people still hate it afterwards.
Yeah, sure there's some people that do that, but I definitely think most people that claim they hate something, they haven't really tried it out properly, in my opinion.
Well, Volini doesn't hate it because of that reason. He's hating it because it's tick abuse, mechanic abuse.
Yeah, but that's obviously an excuse.
It's not an excuse. Volini is a player who knows very click intensive skills. Well, he likes
no, I think it's an excuse because
he's feeling. Intensitivity, well, whatever. Yeah.
Well, GT fishing is a lot more click intensive than mining still, but yeah, I can see what you mean. I don't know about Volin though, he was just an example of there's a lot of people I think like that. In general.
Volini thinks it's overpowered because it saves you more than 1,000 hours, and it could be seen as tick abuse.
Well, but he's not gonna do fishing at all though, so...
How do you know?
Well, I would presume so, since he did agility before fishing.
That just means he doesn't care about EHP.
No, I guess, but... I don't really see him doing that after 2 minutes agility. That would be quite... that would be something new, I guess.
Moving on. Our next question's rather straightforward. It's simply, what is the rarest drop you ever got in old school?
The rarest drop I've gotten in old school, I think, is a red chinchompa. And then next to that, a mark of grace. Those are the rarest drops I believe I've ever received in old school.
You ever got a Pharaoh Scepter?
Oh, that is very true. I did get I think 5 Pharaoh Scepters off 70 mil thieving. I don't know how you guys get 66 or whatever off 200 mil. That's insane to me. But yeah, I got 5 off 70 mil.
I got a hardened and elite clue from the same Abbey Demon, which was really convenient for me because I could just put them in my bank and never worry about getting glue drops ever again.
I honestly can't think. I've been trying to think about this the whole podcast, but I can't remember. I remember I used to PVM a lot back in near the release of Old School, up until God Wars, and I can't remember the rarest drop I ever got. I know I got pretty much most of the basic drops, but nothing too crazy. I can't remember. I think maybe just a D chain, but I don't know.
I think mine would be getting a Pharaoh Scepter at 30 thieving, and that was on my Iron Man as well. And then getting a shield left half and a magic fang in the same Zolric kill, or just getting 4 mutagens, I guess, is pretty lucky.
Yeah, I actually got quite an interesting story. This is 8 years ago or something like that. I was back in the day, a really, really long time ago. I used
Old
to
school
camp.
isn't that rare?
Hmm?
But in old school.
Oh, I'm talking old school, not.
It could,
Yeah,
it
it's
could
old
be
school.
R3 as well. You could explain
Oh,
yourself.
but the RC is so much more interesting now.
Okay, go.
Okay, but I got champion scroll. I lead no time ago, and it was like completely random. I was just camping King Giants, for like paid XP or something like that, something really newly. And then I just all of a sudden saw this scroll coming out from the King Giant, and I was like asking people like, "What the fuck is this?" And it was like, "Oh wow, this is like a really rare drop and stuff like that." And yeah, it was just kind of cool because I think it was like a 1 to 50,000 chance or something like that. So it's kind of ridiculous. So I thought that was pretty funny. But when it comes to 07, I got nothing actually, so I got some drops from that, I guess, like, but I haven't gotten any particularly rare, like I haven't gotten like a dragon chain from a Dust Devil or anything like that, so don't really have that much to talk about, I would say.
For me, it's Dragon Chain Body from Sweat Devil, and I've had one from Dust Devils too, so total I've had 3 Dragon Chain Bodies, from 2 from Sweat Devils, 1 from Dust Devils, and that's a 1 in 32k drop, so it's
Wait.
my rarest by far.
Isn't like 4 whips in 1 task? Is that more rare than that?
I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I'll be able to calculate it potentially.
Okay.
I had 2 heads in the task once, and I've had 1 head through whips. It's all very rare. But yeah, the rarest single drop based on individual drop rate would be the Dragon Chain Bodies.
I see.
Oh yeah, I have had an Abyssal Head before, but I don't know how rare that is.
1 in 5k, isn't it? Or is that wrong?
Wow.
Actually, you want to say because Vest will talk about his rarest RS3 drop, and for me it was pretty emotional because I was actually with my friend from Nova Scotia. We were actually killing Corp in the same room, and we got a divine split, and we were so fucking happy, dude. It was insane. Like we just like the amount of like fucking high fives we did that day was just ridiculous.
For ridiculous OS3 though, I had 4 seismic ones, 3 seismic ones and 4 Virago kills pre-ESC, not pre-ESC, when I wasn't playing old school for a bit. That was over 1 billion GP in the space of an hour and 20 minutes, so kind of ridiculous at the time. Yeah. Our final question is in regards to Bibles. The cost of Bible skills has been steadily increasing. How do you feel about this, and do you expect the trend to continue?
Well, I presume the price of Bibles are increasing due to the fact that like a lot of bots have been getting banned. Like Red Chins are at an all-time high, like 1.9. Dragon Bones are extremely expensive, over like 3k and such. So I feel like it's unrealistic for them to keep going up forever. I feel like I honestly just can't see like Red Chins going to like 2 point like, or just even over 2k in general. Like that just seems absolutely ridiculous if you consider the fact that like before the GE, Red Chins weren't even 1k each. So, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't see the trend continuing forever. Although we do have the new prayer book on Zaya, which is gonna increase the price of Dragon Bones a bit. I just feel like Jax is gonna release a method, or they're gonna allow more bots or something, so the price won't peak at those prices forever.
At that point, for solo players, it would probably be impossible to not do post 200 mil rune crafting if they want to get 200 mil all. But for people who alt-scape, it's a lot easier for them. Well, I guess it really doesn't matter all that much. It just makes viables a little less convenient for them.
Yeah, I definitely would. I actually would love if Bibles got more expensive. Like the more expensive, the better, really, because it would just increase the just the value of the achievement of Bibles. Like if it got to the point where like even if I RC'd to 200 mil with mats and they wouldn't pay for it, like it'd be pretty interesting to have to do some Dora for extra money for everything. Kind of neat.
I don't have much to say since I'm an Iron Man.
Yeah, I don't really value Bibles that much in the first place. If it got a lot more expensive, even in the future, I don't think I would value them that much. I guess it's very individual. It really depends. There's just so many ways to like you can make your money now. It kind of depends. But if you don't use an alt or I guess someone that would only skill for the money, I would really respect that if Bibles were more expensive because then developers have to do a lot more rune crafting and things like that. But at the same time, I would then just value their rune crafting rather than the Bibles. So I don't really know, but I don't think they will continue to be rising in the future, just because this I guess you could say this game is very populistic, and if like not enough play becomes like really expensive, then people are gonna complain about it, and then they're gonna like buff it somehow, or there's a billion things they could do, like add something similar to like Frost Dragons, or just add more Dragon Bones drops to other monsters. There's like so many different things they could do with Played. And things like that, so...
Or who
I
knows, they
think
might
that it will be
introduce
better in the
urns well.
future.
They might introduce urns so that you're able to
Yeah,
garner more
urns,
prayer XP while training Slayer.
Maybe Infernal urns from Black Demons and stuff like that too. There's lots of things they could do.
I think the price of Bibles will continue to increase because players have got access to multiple methods of zero-time GP. Their alts, there's flipping, donations, all that stuff. High-level players are continuing to train Bibles. Up-and-coming maxers are starting with Bibles now, as opposed to doing cooking, which is relatively cheap, and thieving, which is also free, basically. So as we see more people doing crafting, herblore, etc., combined with mod breath effectively banning bots, there's no reason why the price of Bibles won't go down. Unless Jagex intervenes in the future with updates that increase the amount of supplies that come into the game from legit players. I don't see this as impossible because it's happened in RS3. They added Infernal Urns to bring down the price of prayer when it was 25 GP per XP. They've made changes to herblore in the past that reduce the cost. So we've seen things in RS3 that made Bibles a bit cheaper once they got very expensive. But RS3 crafting is still 25 plus GP per XP last time I checked, and they haven't really done much about that. The alternative is to AFK it for like 60k an hour XP. So
do you think the reason that they have, or the reason they don't fix the GP per XP is the fact that they're encouraging altscape?
I don't think I think part of it is there isn't a straightforward way to fix crafting. The economic issues are more wide-ranging in RS3, and just adding more dehyde wouldn't fix it. So there is that. It doesn't actually affect me a lot personally if Bibles go up in price because I do make 0-time GP. It's just let's say if prayer doubles in price, for example, before I get 200 more Slayer, then I won't be doing 200 prayer after Slayer as much as I would like to. So it won't affect me for 200 more all if I decide to go for it, but it may affect my school order slightly. And someone in the chat just said that crafting has gone down a lot. It used to be 45 G per XP, it's now 15. 15 is a lot more reasonable in my opinion. But I do remember when crafting was 30 to 40 and there was not really a viable alternative, so I don't expect it to get that severe. No, I think this was before Harbs.
Oh, okay.
I don't think old school will ever get that severe, but I think Bibles will get more expensive. Especially crafting.
Are B stabs the meta still in RS3? Or is it cutting D stones, or what do people do?
I think it's D stones or battle staffs, depending on how much GP per hour you value your time at.
It's kind of funny how battle staffs, like even like 8 years after 2007, it's still like the meta to do in RS3. That's kind of
They're really expensive in RS3 compared to old school though. Yeah. But just using crafting an example, I paid 500 mil for my 200 mil crafting. Everyone after me has paid at least 600, probably almost 700, because the price has gone up significantly. And crafting is still expensive now. I think it's like 3.3 to 3.5. So that's
is it
an example.
Because they nerf Zora or something?
No, I think it's people realize that crafting is easy XP, and it was cheap for quite a long time. So people just jumped on the bandwagon, and now crafting's expensive.
I still don't
Purple's another one.
think it's that bad though. Like 3.5 GP and XP, or even 4 GP and XP, isn't really that bad, especially if you're like using alternative method, money making method on the side.
That's
You'll
my
make
point.
a lot of
People
stacks,
can use alts, so they can
Yeah.
they can pay these higher prices. Just means the prices will just get higher because people who use an alt can afford to pay that much.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like.
but I mean, it's not even that bad now, and there's been, I mean, people have been doing crafting for a while now already.
I like the idea of Bibles going up if you don't use 0 time GP, because then you have to spend more time rune crafting, therefore the achievement could be seen as
Yes.
higher. Although the increase in price does promote the use of Altscape, because then like an average person will think, oh my gosh, I have to rune craft for even more hours now. So I guess their mindset will be, oh, I saw my friend using a Wyvern alt, for example. I might make it to more easily be able to fund my Bibles.
Yeah, I think if Bibles continue to get more expensive, with both players going full max and post max, we'll just see more people using 0 time GP. Because that's the logical way to deal with increasing cost of Bibles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes all the questions we have for the podcast.
Wait,
Are there... Go on, AJ?
we're not taking questions from the chat.
I was going to say, if anyone in the chat has a question they'd like to ask, now would be the time.
I have to
somebody earlier asked about Deadman ults. They asked if any of us use them, and so yeah, does anyone use a Deadman ult?
No, I don't think anyone
here does.
really in the Halo Kuni does, to be honest with you. Really.
It's too risky, from what I understand,
Yeah.
because you lose your bank if you die. So it's quite difficult to effectively ultscape.
Did you use one for a bit then?
No, I didn't ultscape Deadman. I just played it for fun.
Or I mean, the other one. What's it called?
I did play Darkscape, and I did make some money from Darkscape, but it wasn't really that much.
I made a Deadman ult with the intention to make money for it, but it didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
I also
Go on,
want
bud.
to apologize for we didn't upload podcast number 9 due to technical difficulties on our end. So yeah, but this podcast will definitely upload to video or to YouTube. Sorry.
This podcast will be uploaded before on the 1st of December, so look out for it then. And as Brad said, the previous podcast, we had recording issues, so it was lost.
This could be like a short question we could just ask, like, who are your guys' RuneScape idols?
Quickly then,
Yeah.
everyone, RuneScape idols.
I guess mine is Drum Gun. Not gonna really elaborate.
Show me. Show me.
Oh yeah, Drum Gun and Suomi, I guess both. And Bessel.
Oh,
I don't have an idol, but I have players I really like. That's Rax.
Okay.
I'll go with Dragon Silence, such an efficient player.
Oh.
All his morals.
Well, that's a perfect way to end the podcast.
In all seriousness, not Dragon Silence. Players I look up to are Nova Life and Zarfart for their contribution to the metagame and just their attitude, especially Nova Life.
I'm surprised you didn't say JDL.
I don't know him as well, but Nova Life
Okay.
had a blog that he talked about his skilling views, and it was all. It was just interesting seeing how ahead of his time he was for that period.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to take us out, Finn?
Dreamscape, do you have an idol?
Oh.
Yeah, Randalicious.
Okay then. Is there anything? Are there any closing thoughts? Anyone wants to say anything? Now's the time.
yeah. I'm not elitist. Fuck that.
Artie versus Door.
Artie versus Dork.
Are
Yeah.
Artie's more mentally challenging than that?
Okay, bye.
Well, thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, thanks for
and
showing up.
Look out for the next podcast sometime in December. We may be doing 2 for the month of December because it's the end of the year, so we'll look out on Harmony's Twitch channel and the Solace YouTube.